Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Starside Invitational. I'm DoA. With me is Yuuj, and you are in for an amazing night of teamfight tactics. That's right. We're going to play 8 games of TFT, 4 games per 2 different lobbies. We have 16 players that we're going to mix and match, and it's going to be awesome. We've got a new patch. We've got a new meta developing. What are you thinking today, Yuuj? What are we going to see?
I think we're going to see a lot of the meta develop a lot more from yesterday. A lot of people were trying out a couple different things yesterday. I know some of the NA players were learning some of the newer changes that the Chinese were doing. There was a lot of mech infiltrators still being played. There was the development of the Brawler Blaster comps with the addition of an Aurelia for cleanup, more or less. And it did phenomenally well, making Aurelia one of the most contested units in the whole series, actually.
Mm-hmm. I mean, between the Three-Blade Master Comp, the Chrono Kale, the Cybernetics, the Brawler Blaster, I guess maybe not the Chrono Kale as much, but like Aurelia is a very high-in-demand unit right now, so we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on that. But hey, let's introduce our players. A lot of people wondering if you didn't see night number 1, who we've got. Well, we've got 8 of the best players from North America, 8 of the best players from China. Here is our current leaderboard after one night of matches. Shendu, number 1, easily my player to watch tonight. This guy, his playstyle is so good. His economy management, his ability to pivot between compositions. Super exciting player to watch. Delicious Milk close behind. Not only playing mech all night, did win a game with Dark Stars. And then a lot of other players to watch out for. So other than the ones I mentioned, who are you looking forward to seeing tonight, Yuuj?
Definitely, I'm looking at Honglian and Anya as well. Honglian did phenomenally well in their lobby the other day. He actually pulled out some very interesting strats. I mean, he did the open fort strat that he ran in the second game and was actually able to eco very, very hard, hit that Aurelia very early, and snowball her with near perfect items.
Right. I think the big question too, you mentioned a player like Anya. He actually brought out the Candyland build. He ended up going into Vanguards from it, and that's going to be something really fascinating to watch as well. We got a lot to talk about, but let's move into the prize pool now. See what everyone is playing for. You get a bit for showing up, but here are also the amounts for 1st through 8th in the tournament overall. But kind of the biggest deal with this is that there's not a whole lot of big competitive TFT tournaments going on right now. So being able to do well in a tournament like this really puts your name out there as one of the top players in the game. And on top of that, we've got our first real clash between 2 specific regions. You know, we've seen invitationals to promote new sets and things like that, bringing a lot of people from different regions. But this is, I think, the first big tournament that pits the best of one region versus the best of another region.
Yeah, especially in a time like this, it's very difficult to do these in person. So we are able to provide these situations online, and I'm very excited to see what people can bring to the table after the first day of actually clashing and actually getting to see how each other plays.
Yeah, now everybody's got a little bit more information than they came in with. Let's take a look at the schedule to see kind of where we're at so far. So you can see in day number 1, those were the lobbies we went with. Here is day 2 lobbies. So basically all the players will kind of get mixed and matched. So everybody should play against everybody else, a couple times basically. But if these players have done their research, which they should have, like you mentioned, Yuuj, a lot of these players are going to be going into today with a little bit better idea of what their opponents like to play, how they can possibly contest things to shut somebody down, possibly get ready for someone's little adaptations, read the positioning a little bit more. Those are the kind of like little things that will give you the edge in a tournament environment. So I'm curious to see what sort of perhaps reactive play we see when we get to those 1v1s at the end, or maybe with just 3 or 4 players remaining. Should be really neat.
Yeah, there were a couple of games where it was very clear that some of the other players did not plan on playing mech, and they were just holding a bunch of mech units. We're gonna pull it in, and then we're gonna transition out, and we're just kind of holding mech units. I know it was very unfortunate for Huya for one of the games. He rolled all the way down with like 80 gold and did not hit a single fizz, and was just sitting there and came out in 8th, unfortunately,
Yep.
due to not hitting a fizz. I know he was very upset on his side of the stream.
I mean, the thing is I think it's good people are contesting that a little bit, staying within their economy. And Mech is a less forgiving comp to play now. It's been nerfed again. I think it requires a little bit more skill to get the most out of. But here's our first lobby for the night. It's going to be Becca, Delicious Milk, 2 teammates going head to head. Honglien, Huya, Ine, Shendu, Solus, and Sanwen Yu will round it out. And this should be a really good lobby rather. This lobby is pretty stacked. I think one of the players people always get excited about watching is Becca because her results tend to either be like at the very top or the very bottom. She seems to be kind of a high risk, high reward TFT player, indicated again by like her performance in Giant Slayer series, then yesterday getting a first, but also kind of bottoming out in a couple games. And then, of course, having to worry now about her teammate trying to wreck everybody with Mech Infiltrator or perhaps a little bit more Dark Stars today. We'll see. But again, like I said, Shendu, he is a player I'm watching today because out of all the players we saw yesterday, the new Chinese players that I had not gotten a chance to watch before, he impressed me the most.
On my side, I'm actually really interested to see how Ine performs because from what I heard from him, he had been playing a lot of Mech up until the tournament purely because of ladder reasons, right? Playing on the ladder, Mech does very, very well. But when you get to a tournament, Mech is not necessarily good. And he started shifting over to try to, adapt to the tournament meta. And I think today he will do much better than he did yesterday. Despite already doing so well yesterday, I think he can really show out today.
I think one of the surprising things is that Mech Infiltrator really was kind of like the comp to ladder with in the last couple days of the 10.8B patch. And it still kind of is looking really strong. Like right now on North America, the #1 player on the ladder is still maintaining that #1 rank. But never mind, he hasn't played for a couple days. I'm actually looking at the Lol Chess profile right now. That was just Robin Song, who basically took #1 with Mech Infiltrator. Now it's just kind of sitting there with it. But #2, Grand Vice, actually, on the NA ladder, leveling with a lot of different stuff, a lot of Dark Stars, and a lot of Rebel compositions, actually. So the crushing grip that Mech Infiltrator has on the ladder right now, at least in North America, is definitely starting to loosen since the patch on Wednesday. So I think we're going to see it be a strong comp, but not a comp you can just force every game anymore. And that's certainly been reflected in the tournament so far as well.
Yeah, I also think that a lot of players are trying to play more of the reroll comps now, since reroll comps have seen a lot of success, especially if everyone's just trying to eco right now.
Sure,
So
yeah.
you have a lot of a lot of Candyland comps. Personally, I really like the Xayah versions because with Xayah you can scale really, really good into late game, especially with the something like 6 Blade Masters, especially as long as you get good items on the Xayah.
Yeah, I mean, Becca won a lobby with that exact build yesterday, going for some 3 stars early on, focusing the items on the Xayah and then transitioning that into 6 Blade Masters. So we'll see if she and some of the other players can recreate that success today. We're going to jump in with Huya to start our first lobby here, and it's a full item carousel. Wow. All right.
Yeah,
Interesting. And
Huya goes straight for the ZZ-Rot portal.
Huya gets
It's
the sword breaker.
really good it's just really, really good to stop the just scale early game.
Yeah. So, I mean, Zz'Rot Portal is just such a strong item all throughout the game in a lot of cases as well. Oh, he's doing it again. Why
He's
does
got to
Huya
adjust
always
the
have?
music, got to get ready for the, get in the zone for his game.
I guess so. It's kind of like StarCraft players going through like their sort of like hotkey cycles in the early game and stuff like that. But it looks like he's just like tabbing out during that. Oh, apparently we've just been told that the reason is because he only has 1 monitor. So to check chat, he has to do that. Okay, you're forgiven, Huya. That's fine.
Yeah, streaming with 1 monitor is definitely troublesome sometimes.
That is
Especially if
tough.
you want to check chat. You got to either tab out or you pull out your phone and have the stream on your phone.
Yep. And so two Xayahs get picked up. So of course Xayah 2, one of the strongest early 1 costs in the game for a while, but especially now that people are starting to kind of figure out the value of something like a Static Shiv or a Giant Slayer on her early on. She can be sort of like your item carrier for Lucian, who will be an item carrier later on.
Yeah, Lucian is definitely one of the better item carriers in the game. You can remake him really easily, but he also scales insanely well with items.
Yeah.
Recently, I've heard also as well that Kha'Zix is a really good item carrier. So we will see if anyone takes advantage of that.
Yeah, it certainly can be. People have started to try to star him more often with Mech Infiltrator as well. So kind of waiting to see how he developed. A lot of the one costs got buffed, including Kha'Zix. He just got kind of buffed across the board, if I recall. So I think he will kind of become a better early game unit to, like you said, put items on and just kind of be strong with. I'm looking at Huya's results from yesterday right now. He took a first place in the very first game of the tournament, then went 8th immediately afterwards, then a 6th, then a 5th. So after the first place in game number 1, it was a rough night for him. He did get that win with Space Jam, and then tried a couple games of Mech Infiltrator and a game of sort of Chrono Blaster, which didn't end up working very well. It was kind of one of those games where you sort of like lose before your build is really complete. So hard to tell really what he was going for there. But either way, great start, but overall a rough night for Huya. So looking forward to seeing if he can produce something a little bit more consistent tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I think he's probably going to try to stay away from Mecha Infiltrator after what happened last night. Not getting the ability to really create your mech in the first place in a Mecha Infiltrator comp just hurts you tremendously.
Yeah, I would say so. So he's got the Zaya 2 at least, which is pretty strong. Doesn't really have any good items to put on her at the moment, but as soon as he hits level 4, he can go cybernetic. And he's also holding on to a couple Dark Stars as well. So leaving himself open to a couple different options. Might sell a bunch of this to hit gold. We'll see.
You see Honglian just dropped that GA during the fight because he noticed that he was going to lose and he wanted him to guarantee that he wins this to start his win streak.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty popular thing to do, and it's always a really valuable thing as well if you can sort of identify when dropping a big item on someone will help you get that early win streak. And GA, always one of those items that's you're never going to be sad you have a Guardian Angel, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely like, oh, I'm about to lose. Let's pop some. Like, there are a couple items you can do it with. You can do it with a Giant's Belt or, uh, a tier. Those are a couple items that can really give you a boost in a fight very quickly compared to something like a Chain Vest where you have to put it at the start to get the maximum value.
Right. So, just the 2 Vanguards start still as he runs into Shendu. Shendu looking like he's got a couple different options, holding on to some Annies. He's got a Graves back there. So overall, just doing what he does best. But I find it interesting. Okay, so he grabbed the gunblade off the carousel, and now he has a needlessly large rod to go with that. Huh. Okay. So I wonder
There's a
what he's going to
chance
use that for.
I think he's more or less just holding it. I know Gunblade goes really, really well on a mech if you actually put it on a mech, since the mech has splash damage, and due to the splash damage, you heal off all of it. So it's possible that he might throw it on a mech if he goes mech infiltrators based on his bench.
It's one of those items as well that it's never your first choice of an item, but characters like Kale can use it as well with the healing. Even a character like Shaco can benefit a little bit from it. There's just one of those items where there's a better item that does a similar thing only more effectively than Hextech. Also, generally, it's made out of item components that people don't want to turn into a Hextech Gunblade. It's got that sword, which right now can turn into a lot more valuable stuff. But when you get it off the first carousel, I'm sure you can find use for it.
Yeah, it's definitely still a good item. It's just not something you want to always
It's
go.
not an S tier item, that's for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it an S tier item for sure.
All right, so Ine looks like he is probably going to win this one, despite the Zaya attack buff. That is a pretty buff TF. Holding on to some blaster items right now. And Swordbreaker can be pretty effective early on as well. Disarming people in the early rounds can end up, or really disarming people any round, honestly, can end up getting you a couple wins here and there.
Yeah, I definitely think he's probably looking for a blaster comp. He probably got the Swordbreaker off the carousel,
Yeah, he
so
did.
that's why he's moving it that direction.
Yeah,
Building
he
that
went for a couple things and got beat in the race, and so had to go with the Swordbreaker.
Yeah, Swordbreaker is always a decent item. It's not, your first choice, but it's not a bad choice.
We're gonna check out what Becca is up to right now, and she has a pretty standard Vanguard blaster start going. Has that bow on Mordekaiser actually, which I'm sure she would love to get on the Lucian instead. So if she finds another Mord or another Vanguard, you probably want to swap that over just to get the Giant Slayer going on Lucian. But either way, it's a strong start synergy wise, right? Because you got that armor buff, the new improved armor buff actually for Vanguards, and you have the high damage relative to the round for the blasters.
Yeah, definitely. She's just trying to build up a good front line first to make sure that she can keep the whole backline alive. Lucian will do a good amount of damage provided he doesn't pop off in the beginning.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't get jumped on, he should be able to
Yeah.
stay alive and do quite a bit. And this Mordekaiser, like Mordekaiser will carry you so far in the early game with a few items, and I really love the Frozen Heart on that. You know, again, like talk about items that are never your first choice. Frozen Heart probably not anyone's first choice in the full item carousel to start the game, but it honestly is not bad at all. There's a Darius. Okay, so going in with the Space Pirates and then just adding in another Graves for a little bit more tankiness. Frozen Heart on the Graves makes sense. And does she build the Giant Slayer? That would be a bit of a commitment to Brawler Blaster if she finishes that item.
Yeah, if I think she does already look very committed to Brawler Blaster in a sense, but maybe that could be just because of she's just using the value out of the Darius.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point in the game, like you really shouldn't be committed to anything in most games. And she loves to play a lot of Chrono Kale builds, so she might also be thinking of holding onto that bow to make a Rage Blade a little bit later if she finds a needlessly large rod.
Yeah, that could make a lot of sense. She definitely plans on selling the Graves with the Frozen Heart eventually, so she does have a replacement Graves regardless to move all the items on that Graves, so it will
Right.
be dependent on what she plans on doing.
True enough. You know, honestly, the funny thing is that if she went Brawler Blaster and somehow ended up with a Graves 3 with a Frozen Heart and then like turned that sword into a GA or something, that's not a bad frontline blaster, honestly, even to take to the late game. So there's a
Yeah,
couple ways to
he
utilize
always
it,
isn't
but
bad.
right. It is
Yeah.
nice to have the extra Graves too in case you do want to swap things over. Normal Galaxy, by the way, we didn't mention that until now, but aside from the full item carousel, everything pretty normal.
Yeah, more or less. I do think it is very likely that Becca will go Chrono due to the fact that she's been picking up TFs and Caitlyn's, and they're just kind of sitting on the bench waiting for the right transition.
Right, they could be part of a 4 chrono start, and she gets the needlessly large rod. So if she is going chrono, wants a lot of TFs, she could build that. Only wants the TF2 probably.
Levels
There's
up to 5.
Brawler, yeah. So just playing her best board at the moment. I would maybe swap that one Graves for the other Graves because one of the Graves has items and the other doesn't. Oh, she's going to sell it. Okay, yeah. All right. And I was going to say, yeah, probably don't want to sell the Graves and put it right back on another Graves. But
Yeah, she's definitely holding her items. She doesn't want to make it in case she decides to pivot comps.
yeah. Do you think this is too greedy? Do you think it's too greedy to hold items like this when you have the opportunity to make either a very effective item in Rage Blade or a very effective item in terms of Giant Slayer, depending on what you want to go for?
I tend to think it's greedy just because by now I would have made my choice right after Krugs. I think after Krugs is a good time to choose. What comp are you trying to look for? He is
Mhm.
going wide and flexing into 2 potential comps, but normally you don't see a Chrono Blaster flex. You normally see it go towards like Chrono Blade Master, Chrono Kale.
Yeah, 2 Chrono can be just a really good synergy to have in there with any comp in the mid game. Honestly, right now with the buff that Chrono got, in that you get that speed boost early on. So she's got a couple ways to go, but we saw her build the Giant Slayer right before we swapped over to Hung Lien. So it seems like the direction is probably Brawler Blaster. And she did play. She didn't play any games with Brawler Blaster yesterday, but a player like Becca, obviously at her level, is going to have a lot of experience with pretty much every comp.
Yeah, a lot of people have been playing Brawler Blaster. It hasn't changed much over the days. It's just its power spikes have changed. But with everyone having seen success, it no doubt will be a good comp. But on the other hand, you have Huya, who actually rolled down, got that Zaya 3 with Shiv,
Yeah, Pikachu
stopping Holy
Online,
win streak.
the
Oh
golden
wait,
rocket mouse, or not rocket mouse, lightning mouse.
yeah,
Yeah.
very likely to take advantage of that.
Becca with a pretty strong early game comp, actually. Having that Chrono Brawler, and I think it was Vanguard in there. Might have been Brawler, or Blaster, rather.
Yeah,
But what is Honglian going for here? I want to see his board again really quick to
doing some quick
digest that.
scouting. He did. I know he did level up to almost 6, not quite.
Did I see that right? Where Becca just picked up a Sona 2 and has a Chalice on her and another item? I wonder if she's thinking about Mana Battery, like the Star Guardian Mana Battery Sona build.
I don't know. Maybe.
Possibly. All right, so let's take a look at what Honglian's got going here. 3 Cybernetics, 2 Celestial for the moment. So this is just kind of a classic, playing your best board comp. You've got a Lucian 2 is obviously going to help you carry a little bit. And then the tankiness of Cybernetics. Looks like it may not be enough, though. GA coming back up doesn't save the Lucian, though. And that Fiora is going to get one more kill before she goes down. But I wonder what the plan is. The plan seems to be right now just econ and trying to play a strong board. But he's got a couple different directions he can go from this.
Yeah, you've noticed that a lot of the NA players are trying to focus on their economy a lot more. A lot of the Chinese players have been a little bit more aggressive with rolling down and just leveling.
Wow, it's a spatula carousel, 4 spatulas. That is going to potentially really enable somebody to play Mech Infiltrator.
Yeah, I'm looking at Shendu and I feel like he went straight for the fizz.
Yeah, and if you're going Mech Infiltrator, you probably don't want the spatula on Fizz because there aren't a whole lot of spatula items you would want on the mech. So I wonder what the plan is. He might have just grabbed that because it was the most expensive spatula as well. That's essentially a spatula plus 4 gold. So we'll see what he's got planned here.
So if you were a mech infiltrator and you didn't already have a fizz, you would grab that fizz and you would hold that fizz with the spatula until you got another one. And then you would swap out, then you'd swap the items as soon as you got your replacement fizz.
Yeah, that's definitely possible as well.
It's definitely the most likely play.
Yeah. So, level 6 for Honglian. Rolling down a little bit, looking for Chronos here.
Space Jam comp.
Yeah. Opts not to go for the Shen 2. Instead, like you're saying, trying to put together the Space Jam, looking for the Darius. But he's got a little bit of a late start on the core Space Pirates for this build. So right now, he's kind of just playing like a little bit subpar Protectors build. It's strong. He's got a lot of 2 stars, so he's still going to be winning some rounds. But you're definitely going to be wanting to find that Darius ASAP, that Darius 2 and that Graves 2.
Yeah, he does have I think he does have a strong board. He needs to transition into it well, and that we'll see how that goes.
Oh, there's 2. All right. Sick finds the Karma as well. The Vi is an option, I suppose, but yeah, I think the Jace is going to be something you're a little bit happier with.
Yeah, it seems like the Vi was just there to just eliminate 3 costs so that he has a bigger chance.
Right. Aurelia, yeah, I don't know if I'd hold on that right now. I agree with selling it here. So he's going to swap some items around. Honestly, like the Death Cap GA are probably the most likely Darius candidates. Yeah.
I definitely think he swapped a little slower than he meant to.
I think so too, yeah. Oh no. Oh, that Darius doesn't get anything going before he comes back. Is he even going to get to ult once? No, he doesn't. And Sanwen Yu ending up going for the Star Guardians comp here. And so one of the only ways to make Sona even better as a mana printer, a mana battery for this composition is to make her a Star Guardian. And I was kind of wondering, seeing the spatulas there, if that's what we were going to see. So it's kind of a cool adaptation. That'll probably be pretty strong in the late game.
Finishing up here with 4 Celestial, 2 Protectors. We are getting well on the way to our Space Jam comp over here for Homeland. Just gotta hit those 3 stars now.
Yep, just gotta slow roll for a bit. So no 3 stars, I believe, yet for Zanwen Yu and that Star Guardians comp. So we'll see if he's able to find those a bit later. Decent items to make things out of for this comp. You've got the option for the Zezrot portal. You also got an option for Zeeks, which I feel like is an item that's kind of underutilized right now. And if any comp is going to use it, it might be this kind of comp.
Yeah, he hits the 2-star Ash. So.
Yeah. Delicious Milk opting not to go for the Mech Infiltrator again here. Death Cap on the Jarvan. That is interesting.
It does. So Death Cap Jarvan increases his attack speed
Right.
banner, so it is really useful, especially like if you look at this Zoe right now. I mean, like Zaya, not Zoe. She's going off really fast.
Yep. I think the other part of it as well is that Jarvan's just going to be a decent item holder for something a little bit later.
Definitely. I think putting AP items on Jarvan, provided it's just straight stats, not so much something like Ludens or whatever, or Morellas, it is very strong.
So if you kind of think about the Blade Reaver composition, which we've seen a little bit of, which is the 3 Blade Masters, Chrono, usually sometimes Celestial, always Mana Reaver. That could be a good item holder for possibly a Wukong later, I would say. A Wukong, perhaps an Aurelia, actually, if he finds that. The Death Cap is really good on the Aurelia.
He just threw in his Aurelia and put a Zeeks on it, actually.
Interesting. Okay.
He's definitely right now the core of Milk's build is going to be the Zaya.
Yeah, that's usually your early to mid game carry. Missing a few items on that one, but getting absolutely wrecked by a Demolitionist Kaisa there. Let's take a look at this again, though. So if he finds the Aurelia 2, the items are going to be a little bit subpar. There's the Ash 2. So if he finds a Kassadin, he can add in Celestial. No, actually, Celestial works with Zaya anyway, so that's fine. But yeah, that Jarvan is definitely going to want to be sold a little bit later, swapped over to a Vanguard. Usually this build ends up with a couple Vanguards at the end, or at least one anyway.
Doesn't look like he's actually going that way. He's consistently trying to pick up Jarvans right now.
That's really interesting.
Oh, he just hit the 3-star Jarvan.
Wow, so he is trying to build a 3-star Jarvan. Huh. I have never seen anyone go this hard on itemizing a Jarvan before. That's really interesting. It got wrecked by the early MF, but yeah. All right, a little bit of a Chrono Blasters build coming out of Solus at the moment. Meanwhile, Zanwen Yu picks up another win for his comp. But I am really, really eager to see how this Jarvan works out. Because, I mean, normally you would just look at that and be like, okay, item carrier. But specifically rolling down for Jarvan 3. Wow. All right, so he grabs a Jhin with a sword. Jhin with a sword is good, by itself. But the sword obviously is a great item to use with a lot of different things.
Definitely.
Yeah. And let's hold on with Delicious Milk for a little bit. I kind of want to see what he is gonna do over the next couple rounds.
Yeah, I think he's very committed to this comp already. I think he really needs to hit that Zaya. If he doesn't hit that Zaya, he's just not going to have a chance.
Right. It could be this could be part of the new kind of Blade Masters comp as well that goes from the Zaya into a lot of Blade Masters. Jarvan obviously giving people a lot of attack speed just boosts that even more, the Blade Master effect. So I wonder if that's the part of it. And I honestly haven't seen the Zaya build in action enough times to be like deeply familiar with it. But the Jarvan 3 is something that's new to me anyway.
He just got completely stopped for a good amount of time by the Kassadin, but
I mean, it is
Zaya,
Jarvan.
once going off,
yeah.
Wow, that attack speed.
I mean, if Jarvan gets a flag down once, I suppose that's a big boost for the rest of the team. Yeah, that attack speed is crazy, actually. Huh. Because he gains more and more from the items you put on him. or the buff anyway, is given to more and more people.
Yeah, so that's what the death cap is for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Warmog's to try to make him a little bit tankier and just use some of those belts. He has 3 belts right now. 4 belts, actually, if you count the Zeeks. So Delicious Milk was just awash in belts and needed to make something out of it.
Definitely.
So it looks like it is that. It looks like it is kind of the Pikachu build, right? There's perhaps a little bit more developed version of it with Huya having slightly better items probably on the Zaya with the static shiv, although IE is pretty decent as well. So okay, that answers that question. I haven't seen people emphasize 3-star Jarvan, but it would not surprise me because he has another 1 cost. So why not hyper roll for it?
Yeah. If you noticed recently, had Milk hit that 3-star Zaya a lot earlier, he'd be doing way better. I think there are at least 2 other people in the lobby that have 3-star Zayas.
Yeah, that's like today's flavor, basically, of the 1 cost reroll, I guess.
Yeah.
Sees a fizz and he's like, ah, yes, I remember my mech days. But I like this. I think there's a lot of interesting comps coming out of the ability to pretty easily find 3-star 1 cost minions.
It's definitely opened up the viability of a lot of different comps because before you just disregard them because 1 costs are just way too weak. There was no point because you couldn't actually 3-star them before them getting outscaled by everyone else.
Right.
But now, if you 3-star your 1 cost, you can actually still have time to catch up.
Right. It's like the old hyper roll strategy, right? Where you'd spend down most, if not all of your gold early on, but then have enough power to safely econ back to a reasonable amount of gold.
Yeah.
Couple
He is
poppies.
really trying to hit that.
Yeah, trying to eliminate all the 1 costs you can. But you got to sell at some point.
I'm pretty sure there's only like 1 or 2 left in the pool. I don't know. I don't remember the exact numbers, but based on what I've seen,
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Okay. Yeah, that's the thing with the 1 costs as well, is that you have room in the lobby for multiple people to be seeking out 3 stars because there's just so many. I think there's like more than 20 1 cost units in there, like almost 30, I think it is. I don't have the exact numbers.
Almost something like 30. I've only have up to like 3 costs memorized just for the purpose of playing.
Sure.
But
well, turns out Jinx and MF are pretty strong though. An MF2 already for Becca at 5-1. What?
Wow, she actually has the jeweled gauntlet on the MF as well, which is perfect, especially if you have Valkyrie already.
I mean, that's just so scary to have a MF 2-star no matter what item she has at this point in the game. Becca's going to be probably win streaking pretty hard at this point.
Yeah, Milk is down to his last life, so if he runs into Becca again at this point, which shouldn't happen, but if he runs into another strong person, he is probably done for. Having hit the Zaya so late.
Right. So the interesting thing is that without the static shiv, the Zaya is going to be a little bit less useful in that she's only going to be hitting 1 person at once. So we'll see how it works against the Star Guardians here. So I'm going to be getting a lot of healing off, and man, that is plenty of damage and plenty of mana, but not enough, actually. Plenty is not enough, apparently.
Syndra just decides not to touch the Zaya at all.
Well,
shoots directly at the Caitlyn and stuns herself. So
well, that's the trouble with Syndra as well, is that if someone's taken like a little bit of damage, they're no longer the highest percentage health target, so Syndra won't shoot them. Yeah, look at this. This is a really strong Space Jam comp for Hong Lian. Great Darius items, has the Jace 3 with the death cap as well. Not the most tanky thing in the world, but that comp is going to delete people.
Yeah, Hong Lian was doing really well early, but because of the way he played it, he had a really late start to the Space Jam comp, and that showed right there, so that he took him a while to hit those 3 stars.
Well, he's got a chance to start win streaking now, otherwise he's dead. Caitlyn 3's usefulness is probably going to start falling off soon as well. Yeah, oh, no.
Runs into the strongest person in the lobby and will go down.
Yep. And does Hong Lian win too? I'll have to keep an eye on the sidebar for that. But let's jump on board with Shendu and see what our current points leader is building. He's going for Mech Infiltrator, and he's so close to Rumble 3.
Yeah, Shendu actually takes down Honglian here, and Honglian will come out in 7th.
So the reroll comps, a couple of them not performing that well right now. GA would be a pretty awesome pickup. There's 2 GAs in that carousel. Wow, that's a great carousel, actually. Deathcap, GA, Seraphs.
Yeah, you can see that some like Sundu and some of you are super happy. They're like, why have these two not gone for GAs? Free GA for me.
Yeah, seriously. I would take it any day. I mean, again, like GA is pretty widely considered like arguably the best item in the game, the best big item, since it's so applicable to so many compositions. Because what comp doesn't want the ability to bring somebody back after they die?
Yeah, especially when you know you're about to die, GA is an item that you want. Mostly
Right.
because it's a stall item. Alternatively, a lot for carries, people all have been going for the Trap Claw instead because Trap Claw does stun whoever's attacking you, whereas GA just kind of you die and then you come back and you just get one shot again.
Right. The hope with the mech is that you'd be able to get 2 ultimates off instead of 1.
Yeah, definitely with the and GA procs twice. It procs on
Right.
the mech and on your individual unit, so it does create a very huge stall opportunity.
And we haven't even talked about his Kaisa items yet. Looks like he's going to lose this one. Brawler Bastard is very strong. His Kaisa items are really good, but it's just not a tanky Kaisa. I wonder if this is the end of the road already for Shendu here in game number 1. That would
Hopefully,
be
he
pretty
will be
wild.
able to kill a couple more units and survive. I think he will
So,
survive here, actually. He'll be very
yeah,
low. He'll have like 1 HP.
gonna be close. 8
Oh,
HP.
I
So
was way off. 8 HP
you're
is
thinking of the pre health patch. Wow, there you go. Rumble 3. Still can't find the Kaisa though.
he has hit a huge power spike though with getting the Rumble 3.
Speaking of power spikes, Becca has insanely strong Misfortune and Jinx right now. And that's an interesting build for Sunwin Yu. We'll see if it actually does top 4 or not. Seems like pretty good items. And yeah, he's setting up for the space for the Star Guardians. He does hit him, so that's going to slow down Sona quite a bit. Double Chalice though, and Star Guardian Bangles is not going to slow down the mana very much.
If the mech can get into the back line, he wins. Otherwise, Sundu is definitely going to lose this one really hard.
Right. Mecha's walking up. Can he get one more ult? No, Nico pops everybody out.
Yeah, it seems like Sundu will go down here to Zelny.
So an RE3 is going to give a good amount of damage. One last demo stun before the comp is dead. One more last demo stun, but that's it. Shendu knocked out in 5th place, just narrowly avoiding the top 4.
Yeah, Becca actually staying alive with 1 HP, so able to secure that 4th at least. Even though she does have a fairly strong comp, it's not getting much stronger. So it's very likely that she will go out in the next round.
Yep, it's going to be a bit of a struggle.
Upgrades she can make.
I mean, she has pretty awesome MF items, rather, is what I'm trying to say there. Pretty much everything she'd want to be 2-star is 2-star, the only exception being the Blitzcrank. But, he's kind of there for the CC anyway. Just eliminating 2 costs to try to give herself a slightly higher chance of finding it. But I'm a little bit surprised she's not rolling down at 1 health. I mean, like, this is your last chance. Just
I think
she's made top 4.
Her only chance of powering up her comp quickly is to get to 9. She has to survive one more round, and that's why she's picked up the Kaisa, so that she can throw in Valkyrie as soon as she hits 9.
Very true.
But unless she's able to survive this round, she won't make it, and she just isn't going to make it.
Well, Trap Claw gets popped on the MF. It's all about the MF ultimate right now. Going up against another Brawler Blaster player, but the Soulless ultimate comes up a little bit sooner. And that is a faster MF and a fast exit for Becca. 4th place, though. So top 4 is never something you're going to be totally unhappy about.
Yeah, definitely. Becca was in a very dangerous position very early on, but actually able to come back and being able to secure a 4th from that position is still a pretty good win in my book.
Yeah. So it's more or less the Chrono Kale build, only ignoring the Kale. He's decided to go for Misfortune instead. running into a 6 Blade Master player, it looks like, with Ine. 6, I think. No, what am I saying? I looked at the wrong thing. He's going to instead run into Zhanwen Yu and the Star Guardians. Here comes Wukong. And there goes Wukong. And with the Lulu ult, it looks like that's going to be it for Zhanwen Yu. Takes third. And further cementing my opinion that this comp is the new Star Guardian comp with the Sona mana generation is like theoretically a top 4 comp if you can find the items, but will very, very, very rarely win games. I've only ever seen it win a lobby once, and that was last night.
So he's asking if he could just forfeit. I think Ine has a really strong comp here already.
Yep.
Because with that Aurelia, he actually has the proper items on her. So she will dive that misfortune.
6 cybernetics, so there's not going to be much stopping him. But you're totally right. That Aurelia probably coming the back line very, very soon. Oh, gets on the Lulu as well before the ultimate happens. That is so rough. Solus trying to hold on, but that Aurelia is going to win this one. But we've got a long 1v1 ahead of us. 2 very high health players duking it out in the end of this game.
Yeah, it's going to come down to if Solus can control that Aurelia somehow. Otherwise, Aurelia is going to tear through his comp. The chances of that happening are somehow the Lulu needs to CC the Aurelia.
Right.
However,
you need CC or
comp does not have any CC outside of that Lulu, and so it's going to pretty much run rampant.
Yeah. So the question is there a way for him to get the Aurelia possibly like stuck on a tankier target? That's tough.
That requires very precise control of mana, and that is I don't know how you would do that. I think that's a super advanced way. You'd have to understand it, the mana generations and like where Aurelia would dash.
Right. The idea is that when she ults the first time, she ults a tank and doesn't kill it, and thereby doesn't get the reset. And so she's kind of stuck on the front line and gives your damage dealers more time to do damage. So generally, that's one of the best things you can do against Aurelia is try to put a tanky target in front of her.
Yep, Lulu has CC'd her, so there's a small chance.
Yep, and that worked. Yeah, so if you can delay the Aurelia from getting to the back line, you can see this comp is really winnable. And we've got a great 1v1 ahead of us actually here, where both the players are pretty close in life, and they've each won a round. So there's a chance that this one could go down to the wire.
Yeah, big chance. Big thing is making sure that Lulu can stop them.
Yeah. Let's see. The Aurelia definitely looking a bit better for Ine as far as items go. Good echo items as well. Yeah, the Aurelia items on the other side, not super inspiring.
Yeah, so the biggest chance for Ine right now is there are exactly 2 Aurelias left in the pool. He needs to find one of them.
Huh.
If Solus notices and takes 1 Aurelia, Ine's never getting those.
It's going to be so hard, yeah. All right. Looks like the Battle of the Aurelias this time goes over to Ine. So players trading blows here, but Solus the one at the lower life total right now. Still the possibility of picking up the MF2. Oh, Hand of Justice is actually a pretty nice item pickup. That one could go right on Echo. Could just put it on something that provides
help tremendously against that Aurelia. If Aurelia dashes into it, we'll get instantly stunned regardless if she kills the unit or not. And that will give Solus the opportunity to just take down that Aurelia.
Yep. Certainly possible. If he doesn't die of the Rift Herald, that is, but I haven't seen that happen in a long, long time. Not like the old, like, what was it? The big dragon in set 1, like, would kill you all the time.
Oh, there have been really awkward situations where that has happened.
Yeah.
I remember something like you're playing Sorks and you get the Dragon's Claw and you're just sitting there going, oh, now I can't kill it.
Yep, exactly, yeah. All right, back on board with Solus as he gets prepared. Both players kind of gauging the different positioning. The big one is you really want your MF to not get jumped on. And so, yeah, he's going to swap it at the last minute. To a certain extent, it is a little bit random, too, because you're playing that game of like, well, if I know that he knows that I'm going to swap, then I don't swap because I know he knows I know I'm not going to swap. And then, it just gets very complex. But anyway, the fight has begun.
Yeah, I really
Trap
like the
comes through.
pick of dropping Trap Claw on the Lulu,
Yeah.
since it basically guarantees her ulti.
Yep. Pretty much. Buys some time for Lulu to get the ultimate off. And another win for Solus. And so the life totals evened up again, 31-30 right now. They're just trading blows back and forth. And this is a really cool composition for Solus, actually. It's for Chrono, but it's not Kale based. He's got a lot of items into the MF and a couple items into the Aurelia, but he's got a couple little things here and there, like the red buff on Ezreal is going to be helpful. He's got, like you mentioned, the Trap Claw with Lulu. So it's basically just using that 4 Chrono build and then throwing in a lot of really good smaller synergies that pair well together.
Yeah, the idea behind this, because you're not going so much into, like, instead of having to throw in another Blade Master, you're able to throw in Mystic, which
Yep.
normally you would not be able to do.
And so this time, the Aurelia did find the back line and did get the resets going, and Ine wins another round. So just like that, the rounds going back and forth the entire time. Larger cone for MF. That's a useful one.
Yeah, I wonder if keeping the Soraka just for the overall heal is better, and Ine hits the Aurelia.
Wow.
That should be game.
He found it. He found the extra Aurelia, used the Nico, got the Aurelia 3, and yeah, it's gonna be really, really tough for Solus to win this one now.
Yeah, considering how close it was before, now it's just with that big swing on that Aurelia, it's almost too hard for Solus to manage to even kill that Aurelia as we
Yep,
go around one-shotting everything.
pretty much. And there you go. Not even close that time. And it will be Ine, the ladder sensation from North America, taking first place in game number 1 here on Starside Invitational.
Yeah, Ine actually just showing that, cybernetics, Aurelia is still the best, most contested unit. Doesn't matter if it's League of Legends, if it's TFT, you better nerf Aurelia.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like Aurelia, like you said, certainly the most high demand unit right now. Cybernetics, a comp that a lot of people are saying is still very strong, but it all comes down to, like, do you hit that Echo? Do you unlock 6 Cybernetics, right? Because even if Echo's not your carry, he still gives those stats to Aurelia that she needs to, triumph with. So after round number 1, Ine is number 1, of course. Solus takes the second. Yu takes third, and then Becca sneaks in the top 4 for 6 points, and then the drop off after that. Shendu, the star from last night, with a rough start today with the 6th place, and so on and so forth. Delicious Milk kind of bombing out an 8th as well.
Yeah, you see that some of the top performers from yesterday actually not doing so great in this bottom half. But however, it is a very, very competitive bracket. So we will see how that proceeds going into the next round.
Right. All right. So we have only just begun, and we're already seeing different reroll comps than we saw last night. Like, we knew the Xayah thing was out there, but last night it was more about the Candyland, as people call it, right? Which is the Leona Poppy TF Zoe. Today we had in our first game 2 people already playing the Xayah comp and trying to go into Blade Master builds from that. So we're seeing the meta kind of develop before our very eyes. And one thing I want to bring out, even though I'm talking too much now, but one thing I want to bring up is that we saw that Candyland composition branch into 3 different final builds yesterday that had some success. One first place and some other top 4s. We saw a 4 Vanguard variant. We saw a 4 Mystic variant. And we saw a 4 Sorcerer variant. So that's kind of cool that you can build this out in different ways and people are experimenting with it. I don't know which one is the best yet, but it looks like there's a number of different pivots you can do with it, which is really fascinating.
Yeah, definitely with a lot of the reroll comps, it allows you to pivot a lot better in terms of what you're going to do.
Mhm.
Obviously, you need to hit these items because obviously with the reroll comp, you will be able to hit the larger power spike late game. It's just the problem is once you hit your reroll, you get your power spike. but can you catch up to all the other non-reroll comps?
Is your
In
power spike going to last long enough for your economy to recover from hyper rolling?
Yeah, and that's more or less what has happened now is due to the ability to hit your 3 stars more easily in for one costs, become a much more common occurrence now.
Yep. The other thing that we haven't even mentioned, oh, it's a super dense galaxy. All right. So free force of nature at level 5 for now until that adjustment patch that changes this slightly comes in. And an all belt carousel. All right. Who wants to? The question is, Yuuj, who gets the chain vest off the first minions? Who
Pretty
gets
much,
the red buff start?
most people are just going to get rid of their chain vests unless they have it on a cybernetic, right? The cybernetic is just the unit that you can always take, regardless of what it is on the carousel. And
Right.
so, and then you can just move items later. And so usually I would in these carousels, if you don't know what item, if they're all the same item, you go for the cybernetic, unless you want that unit.
Right. So the big question is who hits that chain vest, gets the red buff, and claims Brawler Blaster before anybody else? That's what I'm wondering. Waiting, looking around. You know Ine is scouting that out too. Wow, Jarvan 2 already. You know, one thing we didn't mention yet with the changes with the patch is that you are guaranteed to have a little bit more economy in the early game now than you did earlier in set 3, with one of the drops guaranteed to be a small orb, which either contains just gold or contains a champion that you can sell for gold. So people that also helps people hit those 1 stars a little bit quicker as well.
Yeah, it also allows players to play a little bit more aggressive. There wasn't always a guarantee that you could level up at 2-1, depending on what your comp was. But now you can almost always guarantee level up to 2-1.
Right. Yeah, you can usually get that level without losing anything. So finds the Yasuo, sells it for 2 gold right away, picks up a couple Kazakhs. And okay, Poppy too. That is nice. He's got access to a Zizirot portal as well, but probably gonna want to wait a little bit longer to see if he gets any other items. But 3 2 stars already is going to be a start you're going to be happy with no matter what they are.
Yeah, Ine just waving his cursor around, very clearly going, how did I manage to hit all these units perfectly with all my gold?
Yeah, and what do I go from this? Really depends on the items.
Yeah, he can flex into almost any comp with these with these 3 units.
Oh,
And
there it is, a chain vest. All right, so does he build the red buff right away? Or does he go for something tankier? He finds another couple poppies and a couple TFs. So there's a chance that you could go for like a Poppy 3 and have a very, very tanky one with a Zizirot portal. But the red buff is just so good. I would be scouting to see who else found it. There's at least one other person, 2. I think there were 2 other people as he went through that really quickly that also had the chain vest. I mean, red buff is going to be good regardless, but you want to make sure you're not going to go into like the most contested Brawler Blaster lobby ever.
Yeah, definitely for sure. You saw Ine scrolling through really, really quickly just to like look through everyone's positionings,
Right.
just trying to get a general idea rather than specifics.
I mean, if you're trying to keep your life total high, which is a priority definitely on in the game right now, even scouting really early in like round 2 is valuable because you can sneak in a win here and there. He doesn't get it with that round per se, but I really like doing that, scouting and trying to eke out those little round victories that you shouldn't really be getting. You know, maintain a little bit more life. Another couple Caitlins. He's really finding a lot of stuff that makes me wonder if he wants to hyper roll. But here's the thing, though. I don't know if hyper rolling is even possible on this galaxy. I tend to think it's probably not because you really want to rush level 5 for the force of nature. So all that talk about hyper rolling, I was forgetting that we're in a super dense galaxy. So this probably isn't the galaxy you want to do that on, actually.
It depends. You could possibly do really well, but not sure what they're going to do.
Well, you kind of have to choose, right? You'd have to choose to hyper roll and delay your force of nature, or you would have to just not hyper roll and then try to get the extra unit slot at the same time everybody else is.
Yeah, I think Ine is still trying to figure out what he wants to do with his game right now. He's very hesitant. He has gotten the Vanguard, but he still has not had that many synergies earlier, which caused him to lose the first matchup that he had.
Right. Unfortunately for him, he was running into a lot of 2-stars as well. Wow. So many poppies. He's 2 away from a poppy 3 already, just naturally.
Yeah, that is not common at all. He could probably just ignore the reroll part and just naturally hit that poppy 3.
He might be able to. I mean, having a poppy 3 into some sort of 4 Vanguard start is a really, really strong early game. You pair that with Chrono, just throw in the TF and the Kalen, and you're usually good to win streak for a little while.
Yep. At this rate, I'm pretty confident he might try to invest in maybe Titan's Resolve onto the Poppy just to make her ridiculously strong in the long time to come.
Possibly. Titan's Resolve is an awesome item on a poppy 3, that's for sure.
The Jarvan definitely looking like a sell material right here.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, the Jarvan with the red buff, probably not the most ideal setup with that. So, people are getting close to the level 5 now. So we're about to see things really get explosive because you can find a lot of really interesting synergies in this galaxy that you wouldn't normally see.
Yeah, with the
Or
huge
synergies just found really quick.
Yeah. With the huge spike from level 4 to 6, or like just 4 units to 6 units, it's ridiculous how many synergies you will just usually get. For example, mech. Normally you want to stay at 6, but you also want to get to 7, so you can throw in the Lux for the double Sork.
Sure.
Now you can stay at 6 and roll and still get the benefits of that.
Yeah. So moving over to Zanwen Yu's perspective, and he's got a little bit of a Space Jam start, just going for the regular old Pirate Blaster. You can shift into a lot of different things from this. Doing some selling, red buff onto Lucian. Okay, so Brawler Blaster looks like a good direction. And like we talked about, this is probably a lobby where you're going to have 2, 3, maybe even 4 people going Brawler Blasters, or at least thinking about it early on.
Yeah, we do have cybernetics blasters going in here.
Yeah.
Pirate.
This is kind of widely considered to be one of the strongest early games in set 3 right now, the cybernetic space pirate blaster start. That's a lot of stats and a lot of economy potential there.
Especially with the ability, if you get that red buff, it is really strong overall.
Yeah. The trouble is when your 1-star Darius runs into a bunch of 2-star tanks and can't kill anybody.
The problem is he only has a bunch of 1 costs. So
Yeah.
I mean, they're only at 1 star, so they aren't actually very strong.
Exactly. So a lot of 20% 3 cost there. Finds a Poppy for the Vanguard. Going to be a little bit stronger early now. Better than the Blitzcrank. And did Ine, I'm trying to see if Ine just hit that Poppy 3. I think he might be a little bit away. I didn't see it pop up on the sidebar, but did he find it? No, not quite.
I'm not sure. But you see Honglia, and he's open forwarding again. He's got two infiltrators and no units other than that on the board with 40 gold.
I mean, that's really, really bold, right? Because you do get the force of nature, but you also have to, level up and buy those things. So just win streaking his way into Terror Bursters is the plan. But a lot of people in North America, at least, would say that's a little bit too risky after the way that the damage total changes came through.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like looking at it, and it is a super dense galaxy. So the problem with that is you're also going to take more damage than you normally would by open forwarding like that.
Yeah, theoretically, if somebody else hits a early level 5, you'll have those extra heroes in there doing damage to you. Shanwen Yu, though, ends up just swapping things around a little bit for the cybernetic start. Still lacking those 2 costs. I think that's a real problem right now, is that he's just not finding any 2-stars at all.
Yeah, it's definitely just causing him some issues. But you see Ine over there with his very, very solid comp. I just go back looking at it, and it's like, how does he have a almost Poppy 3 already?
Right, not even needing to roll down.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough to roll down for it at level 5. Well, you still do have a good percentage actually, so it's not so bad.
Yeah, it's not only you actually getting the really good items that he needs to run a Brawler Blaster comp.
Yeah, so let's take a look at what Honglan is up to. Also, Cybernetics gets like an extra boon on the Force of Nature galaxy because the Force of Nature can also enable those cybernetics buffs. And can't see much there. So we'll go over and check out what Becca is up to. Chrono Blaster, Sorcerer, Space Pirate is the plan right now. So just a lot of really good stuff for Becca.
Definitely looks like she's probably trying to go into some kind of Chrono Blaster comp,
Yeah.
much like she did much like we've seen earlier.
Has a Rage Blade on TF as well. So that's going to be a nice little carry item for him early. We mentioned before, she really does love running the Chrono builds, it seems like. So picking the Rage Blade up early seems to kind of indicate that as well.
Yeah, it seems very likely a Chrono build with Kale with a Rage Blade already being built is just temporarily being used as an item holder.
All right. Let's see. So, yeah, Ezreal, now with the red buff and the bow. Sorry if I'm repeating you. I didn't hear what the last thing was that you said. I was just checking something else out.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the Zoe is intended for other than Sork, so it seems like, the Sork is likely going to be removed with how it looks like right now.
Oh yeah, it's not necessary, but it is a Zoe too, and that provides you with some good crowd control. And the Sork buff powers up everybody a little bit, including TF, who is kind of the carry of this comp right now. So
Yeah,
you'll hold on to it for a little while.
TF is actually doing quite a bit of damage in this comp right now.
Yeah,
Throwing
it buffs the
cards.
Darius dunk too.
Oh, that's true.
Some people have been like, we shouldn't call it Space Jam because nobody knows what Space Jam is anymore. I'm like, dude, there's a new Space Jam movie being made right now. Everybody knows what Space Jam is.
Yeah, if you didn't know what Space Jam is, you're either you know pretty young or you just didn't have a childhood.
Either young or not from the US or not a NBA fan. One of those three things qualifies you for not knowing what Space Jam is. But if you're a fan of the NBA right now at all, like you would know that LeBron is apparently heading up another Space Jam movie. So in the long list of movies that never needed to be made, we get another Space Jam movie. But hey, at least it makes the comp name relevant. So thanks, LeBron.
As long as the second Space Jam movie is still good, that's what matters.
Yeah, we'll we'll see. I don't have confidence. Kale, delicious milk finds the kale early. Oh no, that's not a kale. That's a Zaya just attacking like a kale. My bad.
Yeah, but TF too strong, doing all that damage.
Yep, just a TF2 as well, not a TF3.
Yeah.
All right. So I think Becca has found a comp that is obviously performing very well for her. Allows her to save up a lot in the mid game, preserve a lot of HP. And if you've been watching Becca in tournaments, she generally either is like top 3 or bottom 3. You don't see a lot of like in the middle finishes for Becca. So the fact that she's at 98 or 96 rather HP, still at 3-4, is a really, really good sign for her results in the game.
Yeah, she definitely goes she's either one way or the other. And today is looking really good for her overall. She's managed to actually fall very far down and then still managed to get a fourth.
Yep.
This game seems to be picking up for her as well.
Right. Grabs the belt off of the carousel. Didn't have much choice in the matter. We're going to go over and see what Hong Lian is up to as he does a little bit of scouting here. 50 gold, economy looking solid. He's got a little bit of Chrono Snipers action. This is interesting. A couple infiltrators as well and brawlers. So just a little bit of everything right now as he is on the verge of getting eliminated. Hard to say really what he's looking for. It looks like Dark Stars is the intent here. But I think the main intent at this point for Hong Lian just needs to be survive.
Yeah, I don't think he actually knew what he was looking for until a bit later on. I think he still, from what it looked like, he was looking for Aurelia, but he never found it
Yeah, for sure.
because
I think
those
I
are
think it's pretty
straight
like
up Aurelia items.
yeah, I think you're probably right. I mean, the Kale one, it's a little bit late for a Kale one to carry, but he might have actually found a win in this round. We'll see. It's a tanky Leona, but it doesn't buy enough time for Caitlyn to finish everybody else off. So close call there, but maybe he'll be able to start to finally stabilize a little bit.
Yeah, the question is, can he find the Aurelia? If he can't find the Aurelia, he is likely going to be done for very, very quickly.
Yeah, so he
So,
does find 4 brawlers. So that's a tankier front line at least.
yeah.
And 3 Blade Masters. Okay, so just honestly, just making the best board he can right now, which is the 4 Brawler synergy, a lot of HP to chew through, 3 Blade Masters, powering up that Kale a little bit, and the Chrono, just making everyone attack a little bit faster. The Infiltrators thing is not like the super useful. Obviously, the Kaisa gives Valkyrie to Kale right now, but that's really about it.
Yeah, those items are very suboptimal on Kale, but you
Well,
know,
she's critting like a fiend, though.
she does crit a lot, but the problem with that is it's definitely way better to have it on Aurelia.
Yeah, for sure.
Just definitely an item hold until then.
I guess with that, you look at the Kale and you're like, well, she doesn't attack very fast, but at least she doesn't need to with those items.
It'll
This
hold
Kale
off for a
too.
while. He's definitely not buying that kill.
I don't think he wants to buy the Kale too, but does honestly, like, depending on what he gets out of the infiltrators, like, does he have a choice? Like, is this Kale too, like this subpar Chrono Blade Master build? Like, he may just need to rely on that Kale with suboptimal items.
Yeah, at least until he can get the Aurelia. It's just not it's not possible for him to
Sure.
stay alive that long.
Even when you do, like, then you kind of need Aurelia too, right? Because an Aurelia 1 isn't gonna be better than a Kale 2.
Yeah, he bought the kill too.
Yep,
So
I think you need to. I think it's a situation where this is gonna be your strongest board. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's unorthodox. It's still strong. It's still gonna do a lot of damage. And you still have that 4 brawler front line. So there's potential here. Not great potential, but potential.
yeah, it's just a suboptimal version of what could be good, but it's not terrible by any means. It's just
Yeah, I
subop-
mean, if the Kale's protected, then he's fine, right?
yeah.
I like the adaptation of the locket as well, just making that front line even tankier. Because we know, like, his entire purpose is going to be protect the Kale, right? It's kind of an interesting variation on the protect the Kale comp, and I gotta say, like, that Kale is doing a lot of damage because, and it makes sense too, right? I mean, yeah, of course, those are quote unquote better Aurelia items, but if your Kale's not going to be attacking quick, at least she's hitting hard. So I like that combination of items on Kale given the situation.
Yeah, it's definitely it seems more of a kill the first unit in front of you and just do a little bit of splash to the side.
Yeah. So I wonder when slash if the Wukong comes in, because you could put that in. I would say for the Shen. No, wait, you need it for Blade Master. Never mind. All right. I think you want the Wukong, but there's not really a comfortable way to fit him in without giving up an important synergy. The only one that you maybe give up is Valkyrie, but at the same time, with Kale being your main carry, it's probably pretty unsafe as well.
Yeah, so I think he's looking for the Aurelia, and then once he gets the Aurelia, he's going to remove the Valkyrie and throw in the Wukong. And then at 8, go for 4 for Chrono.
Quite possible. Does he need the Aurelia 2 now to make it worth the switch?
Probably.
Yeah. So
It's
he's probably going to be on
possible.
this
It's
run.
also possible that he's just going to make the switch either way. So
He's win streaking. In fact, he's the only player in the game right now that's win streaking. So he's found something at least that works. And if you look at the life totals as well, it's really, really tight between 8th and 5th right now. So there's a lot of room for Hong Lian to move up very quickly if he keeps winning.
yeah, I think the ideal is it's difficult because everyone just hit 8. And so he's going to be 1 unit short of everyone now. Before he had his big push and like a bit of a lead. Now that lead is slowly going away, and the
Yeah, the
rest of
big
the
advantage is that
lobby is catching up.
right, you're gonna start to see some of those like special synergies come in that you only see when people hit 9 units, since we're in that in the super dense galaxy. But so far, Kale untouched. Nobody has his Zephyr, seemingly. Nobody's running infiltrators really to contest this. It's not going to get Blitzcrank cooked, and he's going to keep winning. That's 5 in a row now after the desperation comp gets put together.
Yeah, I think the way Holian does this is if he can't hit good units early, then he just gives up and open forts after he gets a bit of a loss streak. I
It's going
think
to be
if they
interesting to see if this
loses
works.
2 in a row, he just open forts.
Yeah. And I don't know if I like that per se, but it worked for him in game number 1 yesterday, and it's starting to work for him in this game now. So we'll see. He certainly seems to have a little bit of a distinctive style compared to the other players in the tournament economically.
It's definitely very high risk. The problem with the risk is if someone else does it and you go do the exact same thing, you both will probably just get last. You go out 8th and 7th. So it seems like this is a very this is basically built around rolling down for Aurelia
Right.
before everyone else.
That's a cool arena. I need to get that one. That was neat.
Yeah, this is one of the new ones.
Yeah. I don't have any of the new ones. I've got all the ones you get from the battle pass, but that's it.
Yep, battle pass is good value, so we always get those battle passes.
Yep, I completed mine with 41 days to go, so I've got a lot of eggs to earn now.
Yep,
Or maybe I'll go complete it on another account.
you probably can. You've plenty
I'm
of
sure I will. Yeah, I've got an alt that's like almost there. So Solus going for Dark Stars. Only 3 Dark Stars at the moment because he's trying to rely on a 4 Vanguard sort of like Dark Star Vanguard sniper build to carry him here. It's interesting because this is a build that we saw become popular right at the end of like 10 point. I think it was like 10.7 or maybe it was 10.8 right before the B patch, where people would start to go these 4 Vanguard sniper comps, but make Jace their secondary carries. So the priority here is to 3-star Jace. And then oftentimes he'll do comparable damage to your Jhin in a lot of rounds. And you can see that's where the items are going. Like the priority is on Jace right now. The hard part is that it's more difficult to safely slow roll in TFT. So I think Solus is going to be pretty happy that he's still up at 67 HP because he might start losing some now while he looks for that Jace.
Yeah, it definitely will be a lot of slow bleeding because he does not have with this variation. You do not get celestial, so
Right.
your units aren't going to like the Jin won't be able to just stay alive if things get on him.
Yeah, you really need something to have him heal himself. And you just don't tend to build those items for Jin anymore. I think the other problem is that 3 out of his 5 Vanguards are also 1-star. But here's the thing. Because we're in the super dense galaxy, he could still have 4 Vanguard, swap the Ashen, and still fit in Celestial. So I would imagine that's going to be the plan once he finds maybe a 2-star Ash or another Celestial. But if I were him, I would really want to just get that synergy in there as fast as possible because, like you said, that Jin needs to get some healing, and honestly, the Jace does too.
Yeah, I know Solus. The way Solus talked about it in the past is you don't really transition this until 8.
But theoretically, he's at 9 right now, basically.
Yeah, and he's rolling down now to try to find that last Dark Star from what
Right.
it seems like.
All right, there's the Cassidon 2. Does he want that over the Thresh, though? He can keep Chrono. Yeah, there we go. I like that a little bit better. I don't think you need to do any sort of funky Mana Reaver thing with Thresh and Cassidon. I think Celestial should be the priority. So this comp just had a pretty decent spike. And if you can find the Jace 3, it'll be really, really tough. Really powerful.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. I'm like, why is he not completing this Lux? But
I don't think it's really.
maybe he doesn't plan on using the Lux. He wants that one extra gold you're gonna get.
Yeah, you're not gonna wanna combine it most of the time because 'cause you'd lose a little bit of gold selling it, and where he's not going Dark Star, it's just to hold places for Jace. Oh, he rolled past a Jace! Oh, he's, rolling past multiple Jaces. He wants to swap to Dark Star now. He's given up on the Jace 3, actually. Interesting. Okay. 'Cause if you look at the way this is itemized, it's really looking like that 4 Vanguard build, but he's swapping things around a little bit here. Manages to find Mystic as well. Interesting, but
What,
he's
what,
definitely saving up for a possible Dark Star transition.
I'm very confused on what he's trying to do right now. Because it
Well
looks like he wants to put in dark stars, but at the same time, it's like he doesn't really care about two-starring these other dark stars. He
well,
just
I
wants
think
to open and die.
it seemed like he was kind of making the decision on the fly. Opts to go for the double Jin, stick with the Vanguards. That Poppy 3, so tanky, and it's plenty of time. See, this is really on the other side, what, he's running into from Ine. That's really the more ideal version of this comp,
Yeah.
right now in the meta, I think. Like, the Jace the powered up Jace 3 is very scary and does a lot of damage, but now in the new patch in 10.9, it really seems like, Poppy 3 with all sorts of items, is just a really, really hard front line to get through and, creates so much time for Jhin to shoot.
Yeah, the Ine just had that Poppy 3 that he more or less hit naturally, and it's just been stopping any of them from doing anything to him.
Yeah, I like this. I've always been a fan of the 4 Vanguard sniper build, so it's cool to see it working with the new hyper roll Poppy,
For
even in
sure.
a slightly non-hyper roll sense. On board now is Shendu, who is second to last in the lobby, 15 HP, essentially on his last life, and trying to make Brawler Blasters work. He's got good Jinx items, but he just doesn't have the MF.
Yeah, the MF is very crucial for getting the rest of them low. That and the MF just like pop
Oh, work
super
there.
quickly.
Maybe. GA gets popped first, so it looks like he's going to win this round. So he does have the MF, just to be specific, but it's only an MF1 and there's no items, so it's not really giving him the benefit that the MF is supposed to.
Oh, there's another MF.
Oh, all right, yeah, you'll take it with the locket, I suppose. Why not? It's got to. I mean, it's something.
Go
Okay,
for the Seraphs.
so
They're fighting for it because they want the ultimates.
yeah, well, the Seraphs is a better item for the MF, and so in the long run, even though he's like close to death, it's probably better to just get the items and make sure his MF ults.
Yeah, definitely probably better.
Every time I say something like cool, my phone is like, "Did you say okay, Google?" And I'm like, "No, no, I didn't." Oh, see, now it did it again. That time I did say it, but I didn't intend it the way that they intended it. Trying to put my phone in a place where it can't hear me anymore. Producer saying I just set off his Google Home now. We must have similar sounding voices to Google. All right, don't really need the Ezreal 2,
Ezreal.
do you? Okay, oh, yeah, you do. Never mind. What am I talking about?
He needs those on his blasters leveled up, especially Ezreal 2. It really helps with making sure that he can actually get the debuff off on the other team.
Yeah, for some reason I thought he already had a Ezreal 2. Don't know why. But has to win it all at this point. No choice anymore. Echo making his rounds through his team, and it's a lot of red and not a lot of green, which tells me that Shendu is probably about to be eliminated here. Yep. Goodbye,
Yep.
Shendu.
Um,
Yep, he is out. Goes out in 8th place. So after an amazing day yesterday for Shendu, 3 third places and a first, now finding himself going out early twice.
yeah, we have Milk. Well, this just reminds me of the other day. He's got 2 Xerath 2s. Where he was
That is disgusting, and nobody deserves that many Xerath 2s.
yes. This is a
Wow.
fairly this lobby has been fairly close with, everyone just down to like the last bit of health that they have.
I mean, that's the funny thing is that he's at 4 HP, but he could definitely come back and win this. But
Yeah,
I mean, if anyone's going to be down to like next to no HP and come back and win a lobby, it's going to be Delicious Milk. He's kind of made a career out of it at this point.
Yeah, he's always about getting down to like 25 health, back against the wall. Anywhere under 25 health, that's where he shines.
Yeah. Warmogs is the item on Kane, and you know, why not just stick it on one of your Zereths, I suppose? You could put it in the front line, but you kind of want things to die to power up your Zereths, so we'll see. Demo spat. Is there any way? No, there's not really a way that that can be used. QSS, though, for Becca Tilts. That is a great item for anybody to find, no matter what comp you're running.
Especially because our MF needs it. Just drop that on the MF. We'll never get interrupted. And that's another Nico. If he finds 2 more Zareths,
Oh, no.
this game is over.
That is crazy. And there's not a lot left. And he's only got a 6% chance of finding it. He's rolling down, and he does find the Ash as well. But I think maybe at this point, even though you're obviously one round away from death, you might want to consider just saving a little bit and going for that higher percentage chance. I don't know.
I think he's just sitting there and then waiting to roll down a little bit later. I mean, because he basically hit all his 2-star upgrades now, and that's
Right.
what he's aiming for with the roll down.
Right. So now you know what can you really gain from rolling down? And the answer is not much. So now you just kind of save. Aurelia, though, getting in there. No GA. So the Zareth. Oh no, but the Lulu ult comes through. Echo again. Can Zareth pop out in time to kill people? The answer is no. And Delicious Milk taken out. Oh, that Lulu 2 ult was so clutch.
Yeah, it took out all 3 of his damage units and couldn't do anything.
Wow,
I think
7th
a
place.
little bit too low for an unfortunate situation to happen in one of those fights.
Actually, 3 people dying in that round. Solus and Zhanwen Yu out in that round as well.
Yeah, people are dropping like flies now. I think everyone almost approximately 1 life, maybe 2 if if it's really close for Ine and Honglian. Otherwise, Becca is way ahead in the health.
Yeah, she is crushing this lobby right now, which is usually what we see. So no matter what, definitely a better night so far for Becca than day number 1 in the tournament. So
Definitely,
facing off,
Becca was very tired last night when the game started. So a lot more energy today for sure.
Yeah. Huya, maybe in a little bit of trouble here versus Becca. Getting a look at Becca's comp there. All right, we're down to 1v1. Honglian versus Becca. And Becca looking extremely strong. So Honglian, funny enough, going all the way from near death. He's been on 17 HP for a very long time, and he's turned this Kale into a legitimate carry. He's got a lot of items on Cho'Gath now. He's got a Misfortune with items, even though it's only an MF1. Taking a look at what Becca's got going on. She, as well, is only rocking the Misfortune 1. So we'll see how even the footing is. Becca's got a couple lives to live, but Honglian really needs to win everything.
Yeah, if Honglian hits another Aurelia, I'm sure he's just gonna move those and another Kale. I'm pretty sure he's moving those Kale items as soon as he can.
I'm pretty sure that's the end of the game. Yep.
Yeah.
Becca ends up winning it.
I do like how Becca put in the Sona, because with the changes to Sona healing and brawlers being so buff, the Sona actually helps a lot with just keeping your front line alive much longer than before.
Right. So the crucial moment of that last round was Misfortune did get dove, but there's a QSS. So the ultimate was not interrupted. Full channel ultimate going over basically Honglian's entire team. And that was just enough damage to push Becca over the top. So
yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. And I believe we can take a look at the standing and see where we're at so far tonight for lobby number 1. It is a tie between Ine and Becca, both of them getting a 1st place and a 4th place so far tonight. Solus close behind at 12, and then Zhanwen Yu and Huya and Honglian all tied at 10. Shendu only 5 points, and Delicious Milk as well, really struggling so far in the first 2 games. Obviously, there's a lot of games to play through for everybody, but you don't really want to have all 4 games in one night be bad.
Yeah, I think this lobby, though, is really close. Everyone went out within rounds of each other. So being, 4th or 7th or 6th in this case was basically a one-round difference.
Yeah,
And so I think even despite despite your scoring being like this, it is still a very, very close series.
pretty much. It's a really stacked lobby, and ultimately somebody needs to go eighth, somebody needs to go seventh, and it's always going to be a good player in this tournament. So we'll see though if Delicious Milk and Shendu can pick it up a little bit when we get back. We are going to take a quick break, guys, and when we return, the final two games of lobby number 1 of the night, and then a whole nother set of games. We've got a lot of TFT yet to get through tonight. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for more Starside Invitational. We'll see you in a few. Welcome back, everybody, to the Starside Invitational. DoA and Yuuj with you, and we are only 25% done with an amazing night of teamfight tactics. We saw a very exciting couple games already today. We had wins with Becca, and I'm trying to remember who won the first game. Hold on. Oh, look, it was Ine, right, taking game number 1. I remember. It's all coming back to me now. But what do you think? Anything stand out from the first couple of games, Yuuj?
I mean, the last game was very, very close. Everyone went out within like 2 rounds of each other. Second place managing to be Honglian with a IE Last Whisper Kale, which is actually very, very suboptimal, I guess, but he did have a very solid comp overall, and so was able to hang on until second while running an open fort comp and re-rolling down and not actually finding Aurelia during that whole roll.
You know, it's interesting because I think suboptimal is a one way to describe it because it's definitely not the traditional items you see on Kale right now. But given the situation, he really made it work. You know, he took those items, he made Kale strong by surrounding her with as many units as he could to support her and making that incredible run, honestly, from like 7 HP way down at the bottom, about to die, to second place is really impressive. And I would say, aside from Shendu, he is the other player from the Chinese squad in this tournament that's really impressed me and showing it again that game.
Yeah, I definitely think he made the best out of the situation that he ended up in. The IEI Last Whisper Kale is, pretty much what he had to move forward with after not being able to hit his Aurelia during those rolls. And so he has shown that, he isn't very, very greedy. I know a lot of players would just still try to greed for that Aurelia as much as they could. And a lot of the NA players are just as greedy, and the Chinese players tend to just let it go. We'll just run with what we got.
Just do the frozen strategy. Just let it go. Just do your best. Whether it's ice powers or a Kale with Aurelia items, that works.
Yeah. It's just like yesterday we saw a frozen heart being just thrown on top of a Jin, which was a little bit awkward, but it worked because the infiltrator dived the back line and ran into a frozen heart.
Yeah, it's really good in that situation for sure. Yeah. I ended up what was it? I had a game where I was playing Mech Infiltrator and I was like not doing that great. I didn't have great items for the mech, but I did have an Annie 3. So I ended up putting a Seraphs on the Annie 3 at the very last moment because that gives her just like chain shields, and I was able to live long enough to sneak in like a 3rd place, and I really should have gotten like a 5th or a 6th. So weird items on the right champions at the right time can mean the difference between like a couple different spots, right? If you're talking like 3rd down to 7th. So it's one of those things where if you have like a really deep knowledge of the items and how those interact with different characters in the game, you can get a lot of really nice results with it. So something to think about as we journey forth into the lobby, as you all out there journey forth into your ladder games. We're going to start things off with lobby number 3 along with Becca here. Normal carousel, but it is the reroll galaxy, the trade sector.
Yeah, trade sector is definitely going to open up a lot of opportunities, especially for these high reroll comps. People are going to be hitting 3 stars all over the place.
Oh yeah, you won't even need to hyperroll.
Yeah, and you're going to see a lot of scaling with into late game. Some people are going to shoot for the very high level rerolls, or they're going to go hard on the early ones. It'll definitely vary a lot.
Right. So Becca, being the lucky recipient of a chain vest off the first carousel, probably one of the best items. I would say like sword, chain vest, and maybe toss up between like bow or sparring gloves are the best items you can get off the early carousel now. But she'll be happy with that. Has access to the red buff already, so we'll see what she decides to build.
Yeah, potentially a Brawler Blaster Aurelia comp could come out.
Red buff is so strong early, right? I mean, that's just the thing. Oh, there's a couple graves actually that it's hard not to just slam the red buff immediately when you get it, because no matter what you build in the game, you're going to be able to probably win streak a bit with that item.
Yeah, you can see right there that Becca was considering, do I just sell my units and slam these graves right now? Do really want them?
Yeah.
and eventually decides to pick up those graves. Maybe picking up that Caitlyn if she gets some mana
Oh, there's
or
a
money.
board. Wow, she sells it. Okay, so she sells it and picks with the 1 cost. So definitely prioritizing the 2 stars rather than holding on to the Mordekaiser and getting like an extra strong early 2 Vanguard start. It's a little bit interesting.
For sure. Oh, there's the graves.
Yep. Probably sell the Zoe, I would imagine. Yeah. Probably the least necessary going forward with what she's planning on building. The sorcerer buff, not that vital.
I think these days, like people always just see that now it's you see a TF, you see a Poppy, you see a Graves, you see maybe a Zaya. Depending on what you're doing, you just pick those up.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So there's the Lucian. Look at this. You can see her face. She's just like, what? How am I getting this fortunate here? This is exactly what you want to see. Now
And
you
she
just build the red buff, right?
she also has just enough for these cybernetics right now, so she needs to make a decision to grab those cybernetics.
Yeah, I think you can hold on to those for a little bit later because we talked earlier about the cybernetics blasters start being very strong. Obviously, she slams a red buff on Lucian. What else would anyone do? You have to be insane not to. And she's probably in for a bit of a win streak here.
Yeah, she's got the mana on the graves. Get that the spell out earlier, and she's obviously going to take it off a little bit later with the extra graves on her bench.
Yeah. Yep, that red buff, super strong. Oh no, it's red buff versus red buff, but her Lucian has slightly more health. Who's he gonna win? Oh, what?
15 health.
Start off with more health. I think there might have been a crit in there somewhere.
There's definitely was either a crit in there's definitely a crit in there somewhere
Yep.
from the other side.
It's high noon. I mean, neither of them are cowboys, but it was a pistol duel, so it fits.
Close enough.
Another Graves 2. There's your Malphite 2 as well. Could find another Poppy. Yeah, but you want to go for that Graves 3, I think, in this case. And it's totally, I mean, you can move the tier off of him, and you probably want to because that tier is going to want to someday be on a misfortune.
Wow, yeah. She sells all her units just to make sure that she can she can level up and put in that extra graves that actually take advantage of it.
Yep, I mean,
Unfortunately, she no longer has cybernetic, but not in a hurry.
she's got so much HP now with all these 2 stars. Zaya with Infinity Edge is scary, but that's just so much HP to get through that it's going to be a pretty easy win against Delicious Milk. Simultaneous Graves dancing. It's important because otherwise he would hit his gun into the other Graves gun. I want to do that.
I like how they added the whole dancing thing in the more recent patches. It's just nice to see all their units dance.
I have like the little keyboard cat little legend on one of my accounts, and so I just rock up there and just play the keyboard while my units dance in my opponent's face sometimes. Onto the Graves. Does she go for the Graves 3? I think you pick up the Jace here. Because having Space Pirate in addition to this is just so strong. Like,
Yeah,
I
think
would
definitely the Jace.
Yeah. You probably don't add him in just yet. But he'll be a level 5 addition almost certainly.
Yeah. Maybe just gonna go. She's so close. She might as well just go for the 3-star graves. Like, why not?
Yeah, it doesn't matter all that much, I guess, if there's a tier locked on him. He can be a strong tank at 3 stars.
You can always make a redemption on him, and it would get a lot of value since Graves does tend to die earlier than most of the other champions.
Yep, as far as your front line goes late game, a Graves 3 will drop pretty quick compared to the brawlers. So yeah, that wouldn't be bad. She's already got the red buff, so she doesn't necessarily need another belt. Aside from like maybe a trap claw or something like that. She's winning these rounds like by very slim margins, which is interesting.
It's good though. Like, you're winning, and that's what counts.
Winning is definitely the most important thing. Yeah. Wow, Graves with a chain vest. Oh man, there's no way that survives long enough for her to pick it up, but that would be very nice. Yeah, of course Hung Lian goes that right away.
Gets taken away.
Yep. Yeah, Graves with the chain vest. It doesn't get much better than that as far as champion item combinations. What do you take here? I would say the sword. Yeah. Sword makes the most sense. She was thinking a little bit about bow as well. You'll need both because you're going to need that giant slayer eventually, probably.
Yeah, the sword is a little bit harder to get most of the time, so people tend to go for the swords since everyone wants to build a GA.
Yeah, the bows are more in demand than they were like a month ago, but they're still not as high in demand as like a sword or a chain vest or something.
Yeah.
So here we go. Huya on board now with him. First time we're watching him tonight, I believe, and looks like a cybernetic start for him. Well, actually, it's he could, but it is instead a Vanguard Sorcerer start, really capitalizing on the early Ari and what she can do with Umbrella and Amakan.
Yeah, I think now instead of aggressively leveling, you've noticed the more increase in everyone trying to go hyper reroll strats during the trade galaxy.
Well, it is kind of tailor made for that.
Yeah.
Especially now with the 1-stars, you can get multiple 3-cost of the same 1-star in a game. So you don't really worry too much about being contested on these early on.
Yep. As I say that, Becca seems to have been one of the only people who has actually leveled up and pushing for the level 5 and the higher level galaxies. I mean not galaxy, higher level roles.
Yeah, I think that's another valid strategy that is still at least really good and may actually be better. Because if you think about it, if you're playing something like Brawler Blaster that has this very large power spike when you hit a Jinx, if you can level faster than everyone re-rolling for cheaper stuff, and you can find that Jinx before anyone else, you can continue to power spike, continue to preserve your HP. So this is an alternative sort of take to a trade sector that you can choose, right? Where it's like, I'm going to level quickly and focus on using the benefit of the free reroll when I'm looking for like that 10% Jinx later on, you know?
Yeah, there's two different ways you can play it: reroll for low costs or reroll for high costs, and it both work either way. You just have to full commit to both, to one of them. And more or less, you can see here that Huya is going for more of a Candyland build, kind of with the Sorks.
Yeah, he's building some sorcerers here. We'll see if he finds those 1 costs that he's looking for. He's on his way. He's got 2 Poppy 2s, I believe, and he's got the 1 Leona 2.
He has 2 Leona 2s.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Oh, there was one in there too. Yeah, I see now. Oh, from downtown, Ziggs at the bomb. Yeah, you might as well pick up the Graves too. You're not losing any money there. You're freeing up more 1 costs. So Huya played a let's see. Oh, that's the wrong page. Hold on. Let me look. Huya played Space Jam 1 game, Mech Infiltrator 2 games yesterday, and then a game of Chrono Blaster as well. That was kind of like a comp that was never really truly finished during that game. So we'll see what he ends up going for today, but did favor a little bit more variety than some of the other players in the tournament.
The more I look at it, the more this looks like a Vanguard Star Guardian comp, or like with the reroll Star Guardian.
Yeah, it certainly could be. He's got the cloak as well. If he finds a tier, he can make the chalice and maybe go for the mana battery. Not picking up the Sona just yet, but might want to preserve his economy as well. Yeah, just skips by the Sona for now. Really needs to find those 1 costs before anything else.
Yeah, this is his last chance to roll down.
Yeah, if you don't hit now.
So on that other end, there are going to be much less Zayas now.
Yep, quite possible. There's a Zoe. Okay. So close to so much. And putting the Nomicon on TF. Still rolling down just a little bit. And there we go. Okay, so he finds, I believe that's the Poppy 3 and the Leona 3. And the Zoe 3, almost.
Almost.
Needs 1 more Zoe. So losing this round, but his health pool is pretty good right now, so he's probably not as concerned about it. Would have been nice to kill at least one of those, but
next round, so he just won't care that much.
Yeah, I think the real tricky part that Huya is going to run into is that this comp oftentimes relies on TF3 being the carry for most of the mid game, and he's pretty far away from that.
Yeah, it really depends if he can hit that or not.
Yeah. All right, Delicious Milk is already building that Zaya comp, like we mentioned earlier. He's got Pikachu online with the Golden Zaya. No Lightning, though. Does not have the Static Shiv.
Yeah, I think he's going to focus more on the single target Zaya build where he went Last Whisper IE like last time.
Mm-hmm.
And Jarvan is going to take the AP items to give more attack speed to the Zaya and let Zaya hold on as the ultimate carry here.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this yet. A lot of people are really advocating this comp as being quite good, and obviously Delicious Milk thinks so as well. But the AoE damage that the Static Shiv gives you is so enticing, you know? And it's too early to really kind of call, I think, what's better, but I'm glad that we're getting to see multiple variations of this as far as items go. That's a very early Kale, wow.
Wow, yeah, you can see him considering it. Like milk is, I want this Kale, but it affects all my rerolls. I don't know what to do.
I think you buy it. I mean, a Kale 1 just by yourself is going to help carry you a lot of rounds at this point in the game a lot of times. So, I mean, I know economy exists and all that kind of stuff and rerolls, but a Kale 1 would be very tempting.
It doesn't quite fit in his comp though, so that's why he's just kind of. I think he might buy it if he wins the round. He'll sell. He maybe will sell like a Shen or something to buy it, but chances are probably doesn't think it's a good choice.
Yeah, we'll see. You can always pick one up a little bit later as well. With the Zaya 3 on the board, the Kale is definitely less necessary. So it looks like he's going to skip it.
There's a very likely chance the Kale doesn't even fit in his comp. With
it would be
probably
a
throw
decent third Blade Master, perhaps, but
yeah, because it could be Shen Aurelia as the 3 Blade Masters.
So also the other thing you can do with that comp as well that some people have been doing is using Zaya 3 as an item holder for Kale or in Aurelia, and then when you get the Aurelia 2 later on, sometimes that can be a little bit stronger than the Zaya 3 depending on the other synergies.
Yeah, it definitely depends. We'll see as we get into the late game and to see how Milk will transition.
Right. Becca grabs the chain vest. So another chain vest, nearly always a useful item. There aren't a lot of times in TFT right now where you're like, oh man, a chain vest. What am I going to do with this? There's a Last Whisper if he wants it.
Solus hit a 3-star Caitlyn over there. Huya hitting a 3-star Zoe.
Okay. Almost a 3-star Caitlyn for Delicious Milk as well.
Yep. Everyone's
no item. She's not going to be that strong.
Yeah, and that's why he's just not really focusing on hitting her. I think she's part of the comp, but she is not so much, one of the units that you're going to focus on putting items on. So you don't really need to. Having her at 2 or 3 doesn't make a huge difference.
Wow, Zaya attacks so fast.
Yeah, Graves, though, making it very hard for her to do damage.
Yep. Yeah, being blinded definitely makes it a challenge. Miss. Oh, no.
One thing,
all right.
though, Static Shiv, that did not stop that. I think the Shiv still goes off.
I'm not sure, actually. I haven't tested enough. It would make... Well, because it relies on hits, and if you're not hitting, I don't know if it builds up to the static Shiv stacks. That's a good question. I actually don't know the answer to that.
I remember testing it like a long time ago, just not like this patch. So I don't know. I'm not sure. Because I remember the shivs used to go off even if you were blinded, and I remember something that blinded you.
Right. Graves tends to do that. Leona 3, double Shojin's Fiora. Interesting. That's pretty wild. Wow. All right. I mean, I guess it's a lot of ripostes, right? But it doesn't seem very good. I don't know. Like, I've never seen a double Shojin's Fiora before. Maybe that gets really good at Fiora 3, and I just haven't seen it. But that also might be an item carrier for somebody else. Like, double Shojins would be great on something like a Rakan, or absolutely great on something like a Lulu.
Yeah, it could be just a temporary thing.
Should be. Yeah. I'm curious to see what he's going to do with those, though.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a temporary thing. He has an extra 2-star Fiora on his bench, just sitting there.
Well, unless he's going for a 3-star Fiora.
That I don't know. That just doesn't really seem like Enix's play style based on how
knows, right? Because like 3-star Fiora got the buff where she stuns for like 5 seconds or something now, I think, off the riposte. So if you have double Shojin, she's just like nonstop stunning somebody. You can win like any 1v1 theoretically. I've never seen it done, but now I want to. Now I'm curious. I want to see what the maximum potential of double Shojin's Fiora is.
This is where you pull out your Smurf and start trying some games.
Yes, that's right. I have an account called Space Pirate Abuser I made a couple weeks ago for just that purpose.
Milky's like, wow, there are 2 fizzes here.
Yep.
Imagine if I was playing Mac.
Yep, the game is taunting him. Builds his Zephyr. It got a lot of belts, got a lot of Negatron cloaks, so why not?
You might as well make 1. We could build 2, but just in case we want to build some other items, just build 1 first.
Yeah. Yeah, building 2 Zephyrs is definitely too much of a commitment because you don't know how many QSSs are going to be on the other side late game. Those Zephyrs might just end up being glorified belts. So wise to save some of those items for now.
Yeah, Honglian over here, he's trying to finish out his Space Jam comp. I think he's getting really close to the units he needs.
Puts a lock on Cassidy, but too late to give the shield to anybody.
Yeah, I think that is just, you kind of have to preemptively do a lot of stuff with the ping that you get. So
that is true. Yeah,
a little bit last minute cost him actually probably 1 or 2 units. That he
that's a really good point that we haven't really brought up much yet. Is that these players from China are playing from China, and so they've got like what usually 200 ping or so is the average 150 200 ping to get to NA.
Yeah, it's around 200.
That's annoying, especially when you're rolling down and trying to do something like build a Darius 3, which he's very, very close to doing. One more Darius would be it.
They try to do as much you need to try to do as much preemptively as you can.
Sure. Oh, where is that Darius? There he is.
Darius.
Oh, who do you sell? Oh, it's so tough. I sell the Jace, man. Just put me in.
You're gonna sell the Jace.
Yeah.
You can't afford to wait.
Yeah, you're gonna have more opportunities to pick up that Jace, but you've got 22 HP. You need that power from the Darius 3 right now. And it might not even be enough. His items are unfortunately not that great for this composition.
Yeah, hopefully for him, there's a death cap and a carousel in the net, and he will be very happy.
Yeah, just gets 2 rods out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Or the protector chest would help out.
Yeah, that would be great for him.
Stays alive and wins a round. He really, really needed that. All right, now it's time to try to find a Jace, or find a Cassidy, or find. Does he have the 3-star Rakan? No, he does not. Not yet.
Yeah, I think he's more. I think he might try to level up, or he will just hang around trying to find the Jace or the Rakan.
Right. I suppose the danger is that if you go to 7 really late, which it is starting to be kind of late for 7, then you're just going to get overwhelmed by more minions, right? This red buff Giant Slayer illusion is going to be potentially very problematic. Never mind. He just got pulled in and insta-gibbed, didn't he? No, he dashed. He's okay. He's in the back. He gets knocked up by Rakan, though. And that's it. He actually wins round again. Okay, so Darius 3. Definitely what you want to get online.
Yeah, the comp is more or less online now, and kind of missing out on a couple items to really clean up his comp.
Mm-hmm.
For the Jace. Might as well, it comes with an item, so why not the Jace?
Yeah, I don't know what other items he has on his Jace.
Is a GA.
Okay. Jace can use pretty much everything. The only stuff that you don't really need on Jace is like a rapid fire cannon or something. Doing a little bit of scouting. Looking at Delicious Milk's comp a little bit. All right, just doing the full re-roll. This is what you do in the trade sector: is you buy everything in the shop, and then you re-roll, and you can sell it all back if you don't need it. So you're not out any gold. It just gives you like 2 complete shops basically each round.
Yeah, it also reduces the whole pool count so that you can actually have a little bit higher odds than you normally would.
Right. All right. Moving the Jace to the outside now, moving his 3 stars to the middle. Runs right into a 3-star Poppy, though. That is not something you want your Darius to be stuck on. I don't think, can he execute that? Asher comes in. Oh, we got it, actually. There was enough damage done. I didn't think the Poppy would drop that fast.
Yeah, but
Everything else is dropping fast, too.
This Leona is tanky.
Tanky Leona, and that 4 sorcerer buff means a lot of damage coming from the back line that there's really no preparation for from the Honglian side. One more Jace. One more Jace.
Rolling down right now. This is his last opportunity to, even have a chance.
He's got to find it. He's not finding it. 10 HP. Honglian on the verge of death right now.
Yeah, it just depends on who he gets here. If he makes it, he'll make 2 more. If he gets through this round, he'll make it to the PvE round and possibly another item.
Now, he came back from the verge of death at 17 HP to get second last game. Can he do another miracle win streak again this time?
Doesn't look
Darius so close to getting the reset, but not going to happen. And Honglian out in 8th place. So that is a 7th, a 2nd, and an 8th for Honglian. A really rough start tonight.
Yeah, I think Solus and Ine have gone almost they've both gone like very similar comps. I think Solus also has a very similar comp to Delicious Milk with the Xayah Jarvan, and so they are basically contesting each other.
Wow, he found an early MF, and now he has an early MF with double Shojins.
Wow,
that is pretty crazy. It's a couple tiers anyway.
Yeah, no, Ine is gone for the fast level up, which is why he's suffered a lot to these reroll comps and dropped.
I don't mind the Thresh going into the MF at all, actually. Start to pull some people off the bench with mana intact. Yep, ditches the Blitzcrank. I think that's fine. Now you have Mana Reaver to go with your Chrono.
Gotta throw some items on all the cybers.
Yep. Vi gets one. Just trying to get as many stats and HP as you can. You can see a lot of those, unfortunately, for him are 1-stars.
Milk.
Yeah, watch the Xayah in the back. Oh my gosh, that damage.
Super useful for the Xayah too. It helps Xayah like selectively take down that units. Jarvan even having the death cap. Wow.
Wow, this is really interesting. I've heard people talk about this, but this is the first time I've really seen it put into practice, with the Xayah and then AP Jarvan to speed her up even more.
Yeah, Milk tried to run it in the first game and fell short, having hit the Xayah super, super late. This game, it seems to have worked out far better for him.
Yeah, finding a couple of Aurelias here. Sells the Thresh. Okay, to get the Kale in. So gives up on the Chrono. And just going to rely on Valkyrie now to try to make MF a little bit better. Also, this gives Blade Master to the Aurelia, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I know you see Ine just kind of, he never really got any BF swords, which he mostly used on Shojin, so he just made the for his Aurelia.
Oh, MF got stopped by the Echo Ultimate. That is really rough. The anti-synergy coming through.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. MF and Echo just have that anti-synergy sometimes, and it just really, the synergy makes it you want to use that comp, but It's just really unfortunate. You have to time their mana pools so that they ult at different times.
Right. You generally try to just not do it. I think that's faster impact actually for Graves. Just judging by the icon.
Yeah, that would be faster impact.
And it's fast now. It's like real fast. I believe it's 0.3 seconds after the patch, so it lands nearly immediately.
He already has 2 of the upgrades on the Merc. 2 of the Merc upgrades on his Gangplank.
Yeah, this is going to be a very strong Rebels comp. The only thing that's a little bit off is that the Jinx doesn't have as many carry items as usual. But he's got the Aurelian Soul and he's got the GP. They're not 2 stars though.
Yeah.
Oh, that must have been larger area actually, because it dropped really slow.
He does have
impact in larger area.
Double is really useful for him.
Yeah. Oh, not quite enough though. Bummer. More damage taken. And Sunwen Yu getting really low himself, 20 HP remaining. So let's take a look at what Solus is up to here.
Grabs a GA.
Yeah, probably one of the better items to pull off of a full item carousel.
Well, looking. Does he want the Blade Master item?
Or Justin Timberlake. Show me how to fight for now, and I'll tell you, baby. It was easy. Oh, the lyrics are gone. It's like you're my mirror, staring back of me. That does not look like correct lyrics there. I couldn't get any bigger with anyone else beside of me, and now it's clear. Ew, these are gross lyrics. Justin Timberlake. And we're making 2 reflections into this one. Because it's like you're my mirror staring back at me, staring back at me. You're welcome. That's me right there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
JT, they call me.
Wow.
Thank you for watching. Solus must have all of his VODs muted, but it is fun.
Yeah, he definitely likes to keep song requests on, has his stream. Lots of K-pop, Chinese pop, and
just pop. Just NA pop.
Pop in general. Big fan of Gem over here. I know that.
Oh yeah, it's truly outrageous. Oh, it's a close fight. Jarvan the carry? Do you believe? Oh my gosh, he did it. The Prot Shield kept him alive. Wow. That's the first time I've ever seen Jarvan carry a match in Teamfight Tactics.
Yeah, dude. He has a Locket and Ionic Spark. Wow. All the AP items.
Yep. Yeah, tons and tons. All right. Doing some scouting. 6 remaining in the lobby as Ine has been knocked out as well. You just want to make sure that Jarvan is close enough to buff the Xayah, I guess.
Gotta keep the Locket, but the buff still there. Yeah.
Yep. And there she goes. She do enough damage.
Should be able to take down the. Probably not. The Wukong CC is too much.
Oh my gosh, that Kale. Double Rage Blade Kale. That is a scary thing to run into. Shendu finally having a strong game tonight. Up at number 1. Pretty good life lead over everybody else.
Here's a static Shiv. Not the best item at this time of the game. Probably would go on the Caitlyn, I think. Maybe.
Yeah, I suppose. Or perhaps the Rakan. I'd probably put on the Rakan for the CC.
Yeah, a sooner cast.
Yep, he's got a big shield from the level 3 Locket off of Jarvan. Caitlyn is kind of a chrono synergy person. Gives sniper as well. I feel like maybe you could actually take that Caitlyn out and find something else. There's no other 2 synergies that really add in.
The problem, the thing with Caitlyn is her ultimate actually does 3,000 damage right now. So if her ult goes off, it will one-shot a lot of units.
Does she live long enough to use it, though? That's the question.
Usually she gets one shot off. Usually. But you can't always guarantee it hits the right unit. Half the time it hits a tank that you're not really trying to kill.
Right.
So it doesn't really make a difference. Or it'll hit a unit that's almost dead.
Yeah, so where does the static Shiv go? Looks like he is leaning towards Caitlyn. Yep, he's gonna... Oh, I mean, Ashe has a lot of CC as well. Okay, so he goes on the Ashe.
The arrow.
All right. I mean, if you look at this comp, too, when you're running into Rebels, everyone's all grouped up, so that Ashe arrow is going to definitely give you a little bit of extra bonus. Whereas, like you mentioned earlier, the Caitlyn shot would just hit a tank in the front. Looks like it doesn't matter. Looks like Solus is out of the game anyway. And the Rebels comp, looking strong, man. I mean, Rebels is definitely something that's coming up again really fast. 2 Frozen Heart Graves.
Look at that Graves, the frontline Graves in there with doing some damage.
I love it because, like, not only you're going to attack really slow and you're going to miss. That's basically just what's going to happen to that Graves.
Yeah.
So he's wondering, does he have a chance to go for Cho'Gath 3? Decides against it. Wants to maybe look for that Aurelia 2 instead.
Yeah, Frozen Heart. When you double Frozen Heart stack, it just increases its range, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah, it's not like the old Frozen Heart that just like multiplied the effect basically.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Unfortunate. Stuck on a reconnect.
No.
That's unfortunate.
Not like this.
Technical difficulties on the China. Oh, it came back.
All right. Oh,
so
good.
Some technical difficulties. You know, you do come playing from China, so there's nothing you can do about it. And 3 Kale.
Wow. Free Kale shop.
How do you get a 3 Kale shop when you already have 5 Kales?
The game wants you to have Kale 3 apparently because he's 1 away now. There's a Thresh 2.
You see,
Shendu hitting everything right now.
That was a little bit of the payback for not being able to move your screen for a bit. You know, we're just gonna give you 3 Kales.
I suppose, yeah. Wow, I would take a few moments of not able to control my screen in exchange for a Kale 3. Very close to it though. 32 HP remaining. Runs into the Brawler Blaster Ghost, which I believe is Becca's board.
Yeah, that would be Becca's board.
Has been playing a good amount of Brawler Blaster lately as an alternative to the Chrono Kale.
Years out of nowhere.
So it wasn't it? Wow. All right. Oh, Rage Blade time. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 Rage Blade on Kale if you can get it. Probably.
No. Oh, everybody wanted the Rage Blade.
Oh, Becca gets a Last Whisper.
Yeah. So you know what else Kale 3 would really benefit from is a Hex Tech. Hex Tech Gunblade. I would consider that maybe as well. Goes for the Infinity Edge instead. I suppose that is just straight up more damage, so nothing wrong with that. He's like, do I give up the chance of an MF2 for the chance of a Kale 3? And I think the answer is you just don't do anything. You just wait. Wait 1 more round. You've got an extra life. You don't need to roll down right now. And that's a Last Whisper picked up for the Jinx on Becca's side. So a very, very strong comp again for her.
Yeah, I know she's the fact that she's just gotten 2 Frozen Hearts is just a little bit awkward, but at the same time it's, understandable given what the situation was.
It's so good against the Jinx on the other side, but not good enough. 1 HP. All right. Well, guaranteed at least 3rd. So Becca with a good result again this game, no matter what. Searching for the Jinx 3 now. Will she find it?
Probably not. She doesn't have enough.
I know somebody out there who could use a Kale right now. Shendu finds a Kale 2, and that makes a Kale 3. He did it.
Yep. And that will probably help him secure the game.
It is certainly possible.
Though there is a demo. He does have a demo ASOL.
Dude, that GPL is doing so much now. MF, not enough damage, and it looks like Becca's going to go out at 3rd. So still great results for Becca tonight. 4th, 1st, 3rd so far.
Yep. And now we're back to Yuuj and Shendu.
And so the cloak is on the Rift Herald for Yuuj, who's running the Rebels. And it looks like it was Redemption on the other one, if I saw that right. No, Luden's actually.
Yep.
Yeah.
That Kale is going to be very scary. Shendu needs to find a way to get rid of that Kale. Hopefully, the GP stun will be enough to kill that Kale.
Yeah, I think that Kale is going to
go off.
probably be put in the corner.
He definitely needs to if possible, will try to get the cloak to actually go off on the Kale to stop Kale from even casting.
Yeah, it's possible. He's got a good board to play into this with the Demolitionist GP, obviously Aurelion Soul's a Demolitionist, and the Morellos. Like those are extremely good Aurelion Soul items and extremely good Jinx items too. MF2. So honestly, like Xiaonan Yu is looking about as strong as a Rebels player can look. But is it enough to take out the Kale 3? That is the question that we're about to have answered. Kale does get moved in the corner to try to avoid that Gangplank ultimate as much as possible. He gets hit with the cloak anyway, though. Oh, stunned anyway. Falls its basically the whole board. Oh my gosh, though. The damage.
Wow.
Oh, it's not enough. Shendu wins game number 3 here off of a Kale 3. And just a little bit better MF positioning. I mean, well, not necessarily better, but just MF positioning that resulted in his misfortune staying a bit safer.
Wow, that was a really close game at the end. You know, it came down to could he hit that Kale 3, and if he hit the Kale 3, game was over. Managing to hit 3 Kales in one shop is just ridiculous.
Yeah, so I think we're going to take a look at the results in a moment here. Make sure it's sorted by color. Yeah, okay. Let's check it out. It's important stuff. All right, but results overall, again, I think it's a pretty big story. Yesterday, Becca having a bit of a rough day with a 7th, 6th, 3rd, and then 8th. But today, doing much, much better so far. Managing to claim a, let's see, where is her scores again? Why am I forgetting this? What am I looking at? Oh, there it is, lobby 3. A 4th, a 1st, a 3rd, and whatever she gets in game number 4. So she is first in the lobby right now. Ine and Shanwenju down to 2nd and 3rd, but tied for points. Solus and Shendu tied for 4th/3rd, 4th/5th.
Yeah, and you have Huya with 14 points in 6th, Honglian in 7th with 11, and Delicious Milk with 9 points in 8th. Becca has actually really stepped it up from yesterday and actually instead come out way on top of the lobby, far ahead of all the other competitors right now.
Yeah, looking pretty good.
Hopefully she can keep it up for this next round and actually, you know, it will do really good towards pulling her up throughout the rest of the standings.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, getting a huge points day like this is going to go a long way with there only being really 3 days of matches. Each player plays a total of 12 games over the course of 3 days. And so having a day where you basically top 4 every single time is pretty big.
Yeah, it'll make a huge difference. You know, being able to get in the top 4 will consistently get you points. And that is, you know, really important, especially in this kind of format.
Right, especially with the adaptation to what's been used points-wise with TFT tournaments in the past, where now there is a drop-off from 4th place to 5th place. You get 1 extra point for getting in that top 4, excuse me.
Yeah,
so,
with the
extra incentive to hit the top 4.
Yeah, with being able to be in the top 4, it's very important. I think, you know, even when you're climbing the ladder regularly, being in the top 4, there is a huge substantial gap between 4th and 5th in terms of gains of points. And this tournament does emulate that. Even though it could be just, you know, milliseconds between you falling out in 4th and 5th, making sure that you are able to leverage that ability is, you know, even with a couple of items or something, is very important.
Right. So the question remains, what is going to happen in lobby number 4? We're about to find out, starting things off with our winner from game number 3, Shendu, as it is another trade sector galaxy. We've got the rerolls coming in 2 games in a row, I believe it is.
Yeah, it seems like being able to reroll early is very useful, but staying too low level too long will hurt you in the long run.
Yeah, well, the rerolls on the higher end units later in the game seem to really give people that pushing power to get through and win. So we'll see it. We'll see if the philosophy has kind of been adjusted at all between the last game and this game, because you don't often get 2 trade sectors in a row.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, I've had some times where I've gotten Nico verse 3 times in a row in just, playing games by myself. It's just being able to get galaxies multiple times in a row just seems more likely now in general.
Right. Well, I think the percentage to have a normal galaxy is under 50% now. So you're more likely to hit a special galaxy than not, I think.
Yep, it's interesting though. We will definitely see an adaptation from the last game, considering everyone went reroll comps in a specific way. Ine went for the high level reroll, and then did not work out for him very well. So hopefully, everyone's going to make changes, and you're very likely going to see more people hard reroll during the trade sector.
Right. Yep. If you choose to reroll at like level 6, level 7, you kind of count on high rolling some of those more expensive units, and you lack the star power, as it were, of the early stuff. Wow, look at that, Lucian. Now all he needs is a chain vest, and he has a really good cybernetic start.
Yeah, and almost being able to 2-star all of them off the bat. He just, trade sector reroll.
Okay, so there is the I guess it's not a Poppy 2, but oh no, it would be a Poppy 2 if you bought both of those.
Yeah, he's probably hoping for some gold, and then otherwise you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, it's not worth selling your cybernetics probably. 2 stars are important, but that cybernetic synergy can carry with items just because of all the stat buffs. You get kind of like a bunch of 1.5 stars basically.
Yeah, if
Nice.
that's perfect for him.
Yeah, got the gold and had enough to pick up a Graves as well. Another
Yeah,
Poppy.
opening up the opportunity to just start going for a reroll comp using your Zoes, your Poppies, and some cybernetics.
Yeah, with the 2 stars coming together like this, he might want to actually give up on the cybernetic start. I wonder what he's going to do. There is another Lucian in the shop as well.
Yeah, so you can very easily flex into one or another.
Yeah. Poppy 2. Yeah, okay. Just to go for the strongest board he can play. Oh, but man, look at that. It's a Zaya 2 with the Last Whisper and the gloves already. Delicious milk. How does he find it? He's finding basically exactly what he wants every single game. Not that it's working out very well for him, but he is finding it.
Yeah, I think a large part of what happened last game was it had to do with the fact that Solus and Delicious Milk went literally the same comp, and obviously it does have effect on you as you get higher up, but
Right.
at the early games it does, it is pretty stable for both of them.
All right. So Ine is going to be the player we're going to check in with next, see what he's up to. Looks like a pretty standard Space Pirates start here. 2 Graves, 2. So we are going to see the rerolling coming in like we knew we would.
Yeah, Ine looks like he's just trying to make as much money as he can right now. He hasn't decided what he wants to go, but he's just trying to make the money.
Yeah, you can save that and drop it back into the shop a little bit later. The Zaya 2 might be a good inclusion at 4. Opting not to level here, actually, which seems to be the play for a lot of these players on this galaxy. Not too many of them, I think, went to 4 early.
Oh, that TF with the Morello is doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, that is there's not a lot of times I would slam a Morello's early, but this is not a bad use of it.
Yeah, with the TF, the going up in value most of the time, he does have a very wide range, and so he can apply Morales to multiple champions very, very easily.
Right. I'll check that out. All Space Pirates. Nothing but gold opportunities.
Space pirate only player right here, just generating gold. He's a
Literally Space Pirates only.
gold machine right here. Just
Yep.
high roll a GP somehow. Just randomly get a GP.
It's gonna knock the coinage right out of you. Why are all these people carrying all these coins as well? Where does Malphite keep them?
I don't know.
I guess he's kind of got clothes on the skin. He's wearing boots at least. There we go. Popped right out of his boots. 3 gold, not bad. Like when you think about it, Space Pirate just breaks the game economically, right? Where you get
Yeah.
like these enormous advantages that you normally have to work very hard for.
Yeah, I know space pirates are generally the raw unit is stronger because of that,
Right.
but at the same time, it's like, well, there's no synergy here in terms of
And now you
you're
found
not always gonna get it.
right. And then Jace and Darius are now very strong individual units as well. Ooh, does he get the cloak? He does. Okay. Nice. So I think that's going to be a QSS if I recall correctly. I think he had an extra gloves. But I could be mistaken. He may have had a tier as well. I'm trying to remember what he had on his bench.
I think it's more likely to be a QSS just from the way he's been building.
That would be what most players would be going for. What'll it be?
It will be
Ionic. Okay.
Ionic Spark.
Yeah. Ionic Spark, definitely a good item to put on Darius or on one of your frontline tanks, since it does successfully boost the damage of people around by shredding the magic resistance of your opponents, and then also gives you that extra little bit of damage when somebody casts their ultimate ability near you, which might just maybe help you get that extra reset with the Darius.
Yeah, Ine looks like he's going for some kind of Space Jam comp. Maybe he may transition out of it, or he just may full on commit to, the whole comp.
Yeah, I don't think that would be a bad thing. I think Space Jam is one of the stronger comps in the meta right now. But oh man, he was not able to one-shot that Jarvan with the Darius and barely finds the damage to take out the Xayah. That was very, very close. But the gold comes in. Meanwhile, checking out what Sanwen Yu is building. Doesn't matter. He got beat. UGA. Looks like he's picking up some Star Guardians, actually. Interesting.
Pulling up some cybernetics here,
Mm-hmm.
or just a Leona.
I like the Vanguard edition. That's going to make the front line a lot tankier, and it's going to give you the opportunity to set up the Darius for more dunking, since you've got someone to take the aggro for him. A lot of times I see people put Darius off to the side or like down a row, but like he just did, you want your Darius out of the way a little bit.
Yeah, you don't want him to be taking the damage, but you don't want him to walk all the way around just to get where you're gonna before he starts doing damage.
Right. I feel like a lot of times Darius positioning is similar to what Leona positioning needs to be when you first put her in a lot of comps, where you'll put him like one row behind off to the side. So he still has an uninterrupted path to walk forward, but just isn't going to take the aggro right away.
Yeah, one
This
thing
time
that
around, though, runs into a very early Jhin.
yeah is really early. Considering, so he's might be looking to take advantage of that and move into some kind of Dark Star comp.
Yep, certainly could. It's a Jhin 1 at before 3 is a really, really good sort of early game carry. So I think he'll be happy with that.
You have like a 1% chance or something to actually hit it at level 5. Well, it's 5%, but with all the forecasts, probably closer to a 1% chance to actually hit that Jhin.
Yeah. Let's see what he gets off of the Terrorbursters. Waiting to see.
Ine just
yet.
more AP items for his Darius.
All right. Finds 3 gold, aka Vi, and a cloak. Okay. You don't really need 2 Ionic Sparks.
Yeah, Ionic Sparks don't stack at all in terms of magic reduction. I think the mana damage that happens still happens, but the debuff for magic resistance doesn't.
Yeah, the fun thing with the Ionic Sparks is that what you can do sometimes is you can put like one in your front line and one in your back line if you have to build a second one for some reason, like late in the game. And so that can be like protection against Vanguard sometimes, where they come in, do their abilities, take damage. So if you're going to have 2 Ionic Sparks, which you generally don't want, at least putting one in your back line can be helpful.
Oh man, Looking like he wants to do some Aurelia thing.
Yeah. Dragon's Fang on Aurelia, or Dragon's Claw on Aurelia, rather, is going to make her a little bit more tanky. Fiora gets a little bit extra HP from the item placed on her, but man, that Xayah, Delicious Milk, doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, Homeland's gone in gone like hard eco again.
Yeah.
Not fully open for like he did before, but a lot more eco based.
It's really neat because he's showing us a really different style than we've seen from the other Chinese players so far, where we were discussing earlier that the Chinese players like to be a little bit more aggressive in their economy management, that they like to roll down preemptively rather, a little bit more often than their North American counterparts. But Hong Lian is kind of the polar opposite. He's playing the old school style of TFT, where you just, like you mentioned, open fort, just take lots of HP loss early to build up a very fast economy.
Yeah, but a lot of it depends on if everyone's doing one thing and you do the exact opposite, you're gonna find a lot more success a lot of the time, as long as it's a valid strategy.
Well, that's the question, right? Because a lot of people were saying that kind of thing was going to go out of style after the damage changes came through, where you would take more damage early in the game if you played that very aggressive economic style. Clearly, Hong Lian has found a way to make it work. His results have been a little bit up and down in lobbies, but he does have a few very high placements so far. So it's hard to argue with. Wow. Free Recon too, but it's not really a unit that you want all that much unless you're going into Space Jam, I guess. But it doesn't look like he is.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit into his composition. You can't really. It's just he looks at it, buys a couple to hold, and then sells them right away.
Yep. Thinning out the two cost pool a little bit, I suppose.
Let's see.
Yeah. So he does also have the. What's that?
Yeah, no, Ine actually managed to hit the Jinx really early.
Yeah, that could be really strong. Fiora getting back onto the Jinxo, but the Soraka heal comes through, and that should be a round win for Ine.
Yeah, he still looks very focused on the whole Space Pirate and Space Pirate, a little bit of Blaster in there.
Yeah, well, Space Pirates have become just this very strong early to mid game transitionary composition where you can run those, get extra gold, stay safe, preserve the HP, and then pretty comfortably transition into something like Blasters is very common since you're going to have the Graves already.
For sure.
So a lot of items to pick from here, a lot of tempting stuff as Hong Lian does a little bit of scouting here. Really needs to start making something happen soon. Sub 40 HP is where I think a lot of players will start to get kind of concerned.
So I think the you get concerned, and then your threshold usually is around 25 HP, where you should be just full on rolling down to 0.
Yeah, that's desperation mode. Yep.
I'm pretty much expecting here. Oh, never mind.
Jin.
I was mostly expecting him to go to 7 by the PVE round and then actually roll down then. But he has chosen to level to 7 and just start rolling down right away after the carousel.
Yep. So opting to be a little bit more aggressive now in the econ after playing it a little bit slow. So giving himself a couple different options here to maybe find an early. Oh no, he did sell the Jin, didn't he? Okay, with putting in the Vanguards, I was wondering if we were going to see a Jin comp instead because he doesn't have bad items for it. He has a Lulu for Celestial and for the CC, which is pretty cool though.
Yeah, it seems like he's largely focusing on the Aurelia.
Yeah.
I think Hongnian has shown that he is a very, very big fan of Aurelia in general, and has made a Dragon's Claw instead of the normal aggressive items that he would much rather prefer on her. Holding having put the BF sword on and just, if you get an IE, you get an IE. If you can't, then we'll just pop the GA on her.
Right, right. So Delicious Milk has the Xayah 3 with some good items. So playing a very similar comp to what he's been playing already tonight. Blade Master, Chrono.
Yeah, he is almost at that Shen 2, Shen 3, I mean, Jarvan 3 and the Caitlyn 3. He's just kind of holding out till probably, a bit of a slow roll, but not too much.
Yeah, still has 30 gold, so he's still fairly comfortable economically. And check this out. It looks like Zanwen Yu is actually going for the mana battery Sona comp, the mana printer, but still not online yet. It takes a big shot from Delicious Milk in that round.
Yeah, Milk actually being able to get a Quicksilver this game. Last game he did not have one, so his Xayah was constantly getting CC'd. This
Yeah,
game should make a huge difference.
Caitlyn 3 is a nice little mid-game carry pickup. And looking for the Rakan now as well. So generally you'll want to add like Protector and Celestial into this as the game goes on, seems like.
Yeah, he takes out the Fiora for the Aurelia.
Right. So that'll give him, it'll still give him the Blade Master, which is the most important thing. Checking to see what other items everybody else gets. I'm really curious about Sanwen Yu's board. It didn't look like he had the greatest items to go for the mana battery. I think he had just one chalice on Sona. But who knows? Maybe after Infiltrators, he'll find the items he was looking for.
Very, very possible. He has a lot of time still. He's still fairly okay in health.
Yeah. Well, we'll take a look at his board. All right. So he's got the Seraphs. But the thing is unless Sona's a Star Guardian, the Seraphs doesn't really do anything for this build. It makes her
Yeah,
heal more often, but you want the chalice because the idea behind this build is to specifically use the Sona to give mana to the other Star Guardians, which in turn pumps them up, which in turn makes them give mana. So the Seraphs is very sort of counter to what the build is trying to do. Interesting.
largely the goal here is you need to either have Star Guardian or Chalice. If he doesn't have any of those, she's just not very useful.
He's counting on a spatula to basically save this build. So I've got a bad feeling that Jean Yu might be out pretty soon here. This is not looking good for him.
Yeah, with the way it's going right now, there's also another person that has been running Sorks that he just played against, actually.
Yep.
And so it's very likely that he will not be able to hit everything he needs.
More traditional sorcerer comp, yeah. I mean, at this point, honestly, like if he loses a little bit more HP, he may just consider selling the Sona and finding something else and moving those items over to the Syndra and just playing it in the good old-fashioned way. It's definitely not as strong as it used to be, but the Sona's really not doing anything for you, and those items are kind of just being held hostage at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely just, you kind of could play a stronger board.
Yeah. Because the heals from the Sona are not going to be enough, as you can see. Pretty much gets wrecked. Very close to the Nico 3, but he doesn't have any items on the Nico either. This kind of build that Sean Menu is going for, I think is very, very dependent on items and specifically dependent on having 2 Chalice or, like you mentioned earlier, Yuuj, having the Star Guardian Bangle. And he doesn't have either of those right now. So even though it's cool to hit this Nico 3, and Nico 3 is no doubt strong, yeah, I would sell that. I think he should actually sell the Sona and move those items over to Syndra.
He's considering it. He's considering it. I know he probably definitely will if he hits a 3-star Syndra, but until that happens, he's not convinced.
I mean, he's going to be dead before he hits the 3-star Syndra, so I don't know what you're waiting for here at this point. Okay, interesting. So it's a sorcerer version of the Candyland hyper roll build from Huya right now. And that Nico does certainly do a lot of damage.
Yeah, the TF just throws his cards once and half their HP's gone.
Look how slow they're casting, though. Got a little bit of revenge on a TF, but that's going to be about that.
Faster.
Yeah. All right, so does he find... Oh, there's the cloak. He's got a chance. He needs that Negatron cloak. It's the only thing that will save his build. Goes right for it, of course. And maybe now he can scrape out a couple wins. because we saw without the way for Sona to give that mana to the Star Guardians that are around her, you're just gonna have you're just gonna have a very slow, bad version of Star Guardians, basically.
Yeah, it just becomes kind of not useful at all just to have that Sona. It just doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah. I'll eat my words if he's able to come back in this game now that he's got the Chalice on Sona. But man, really, really coming down to the wire, getting this very vital component together. Soraka 2 is a nice pickup as well. And yeah, so just puts the gloves on Nico just to give her a chance at dodging and make her just slightly more tanky because of that.
Yeah, if he can make it to the PvE round, he might have a chance, but it'll be hard considering a lot of people have done hyper reroll comps and he hasn't and is suffering as such.
Well, if he doesn't die here, I will tell you exactly what he needs to survive. Pretty decent Nico ultimate. Is he going to get a second one? Looks like he should. Okay, a second one. And now you finally see that mana being transferred to the Star Guardians, and the healing is just so intense. Keeping that Nico up through all of that. Okay, yeah, you can see what a big difference the Chalice makes. So now, I'll tell you what he needs from the neutral round. He needs a Chain Vest to make GA on Nico, and he needs another Negatron Cloak to finish QSS on Nico. If you can find those two items, that would make his Nico strong enough to give his team enough sustain to possibly get a win streak going. But even then, it's a little bit iffy yet. But if he didn't have the Chalice from that last carousel, he'd be dead right now.
Yeah, definitely for sure. I think regardless of as long as he doesn't lose this round super hard, he'll make it to the round.
Right.
But who knows? He could come up against. Yeah, Milk is probably the worst person he could come up against right now.
He's on the edge. I mean, it depends. If the healing keeps Nico up again, then this is okay. No, but it doesn't. Nico just dies super fast because that's a Xayah 3 with a Last Whisper and an Infinity Edge, and your whole team is dead.
Yeah.
Yep. Alive. Barely.
He survive.
He does survive to the neutral round. And hitting the Syndra 3 would be a power spike. We'll see what the items give him. Reading the Chalice, just to reassure himself that it will give mana to everything that's around him. I think it's like 2 hexes away it gives mana to, if I remember right. I actually have not played much with this build yet, despite being a big Star Guardians fan.
Yeah, I've mostly been sticking with Chrono builds.
Chrono's always a good decision.
Yeah, I do like
just kind of playing whatever the game gave me lately. I've kind of gone back to my old style of just not trying to force anything and just playing the game, All right, what is it? Okay, finds a GA for Nico. That's really big because with a Nico 3, that should guarantee him at least 2 ultimates, if not more. So, you're going to be really happy about that.
So that's very useful for him.
Yep. Yeah, Thieves' Gloves, I would put that, sure, you could put that on the Syndra. Yeah. It's not bad. Ari would be the other candidate. Unfortunately, he gets pretty much the worst items you could possibly get for that Syndra.
At that point.
The funny thing is that if he finds a Syndra 3 before the next round, which he's not going to, but if he would have, it would have reset the items on Thieves' Gloves, so he would have had another chance to get better ones. But a little bit too late now. No, it's all about the Nico at this point. It's all about the Nico surviving. That red buff, though. Oh, no. Oh, no. MF. Well, that's the end of the line for Xiaomin Yu.
Fortunately, going down to Brawler Blasters.
Yep.
Becca, I believe this is the 3rd game she's played Brawler Blasters.
It's a very solid comp. So at the end of the day, I think that new Star Guardians comp with the mana printer, mana battery, Sona, it can be very strong. Again, we did see it win a lobby yesterday, but more and more, I believe that you really need to high roll for it to go well, for you to take top 4. And then you need to ultra, ultra high roll if you want any chance of having a first. So I think in most game scenarios, I would suspect that comp is a top 4 comp only. But again, the meta's young. People are still experimenting. I haven't tried it much myself, but my initial impressions are not super impressed.
Yeah, I don't think the comp is that great, but there are a lot of different comps that are coming out, so it's very hard to say.
Yeah. And I love Star Guardians as well. Like I loved playing Star Guardian Sorcerer. So it kills me to say that, but you gotta call them like you see them, right?
I mean, the comp was fairly dominant for a while. Just it had that
It had a patch.
one
Yeah.
patch where it was really really strong due to the fact that everything else other than Star Guardians got nerfed. And
Yeah.
now that they've
People
been
also just kind of realized that it was good as well. Like back in 10.6, I was playing it. I was forcing it every game. And it was not a comp that would win a lot of lobbies, but you could force it and you could consistently top 4 with it. So it was a great comp for climbing. But yeah, then 10.7 came, where it was super dominant, really, really good. And then 10.8, it was nerfed into oblivion. And now here we are, where sorcerers are kind of like a big question mark right now, you know? There's a couple builds out there that seem like they use it okay, but the 6 sorcerer builds seem a little bit weak right now.
Yep. Honglian actually staying alive, pretty low HP. He was able to pull out a win on that. He's constantly been banking on his whole Aurelia.
Yeah.
See,
What is
well,
Becca going to end up with? Zephyr wouldn't be bad. I wonder if anyone's going to go for the Zephyr. Okay, yeah, I was going to say it's pretty solid. Becca grabs a Last Whisper, which is certainly a high priority item now that you have so many Poppy 3s in lobbies. Last Whisper was already turning into a priority because of some of the J3 comps and the mech comps. But now Last Whisper is a very important item in the meta. Who do
yeah,
you? Yeah, and here's a good example of why Last Whisper is very important in the meta, because you've got 2 3-star vanguards right there. So that is a lot of armor to burn through.
Yeah, you definitely need to break through that. If you like, a big combination is if you're going IE, you probably want Last Whisper, just due to the crits and really bringing down the armor. A lot of the alternative is to take down these big beefy tanks are Giant Slayer and Red Buff, but
Yeah.
more or less it's you. Yeah, you have to have one of those.
So this is an early or interesting adaptation. He's going up against a 6 sorcerer build with a Vel'Koz 2 with Seraphs. That Vel'Koz 2, I'm surprised did not roast the entire team the first time out, but it looks like it's going to be enough the second time. Huya runs, gets taken out. So we saw him try to go for a lot of different little synergies there, right? He had Chrono in there, he had Mystic, he had 2 Sorcerer. But those 3 stars fall off in the late game. So I like the adaptation of his opponent a little bit better. I didn't get to see who that was. But they went for a 6 sorcerer variation, which I feel like is going to be pretty strong.
Looking at the chat over here, I'm pretty sure Milk is holding on to something that Becca really really wants.
I think it's the Aurelia.
It could be.
If I can see, he's holding onto a Rumble right now. I can't really see the screen right now, but let's see. Gonna open up his stream. So he takes a loss. Interesting, to the 6 sorcerer build, or does he? Vel'Koz. There we go. All right, that's the damage.
Yeah,
Shendu again.
yeah.
Shendu yesterday won a lobby with the Star Guardians Mana Printer build, and now he's going for a 6 orc build. So he seems to be the player to be trying to make the sorcerers work in the new meta. And that's very exciting to me. It's cool.
Yeah, it's been a while since you've seen a Vel'Koz comp in a very, very long time. You've seen, the squid builds, but generally this patch, this is probably the first time we've actually seen someone kind of try to run a Vel'Koz at all. He's managed to put a Seraphs and a Hand of Justice on it.
Well, in 6 sorcerer builds, he's going to become your primary carry now that Syndra has fallen off quite a bit. Syndra just simply doesn't do enough damage if she's not 3-star to be useful. There's a lot of GAs floating around the meta right now, so one-shotting people is not as great. But Vel'Koz's targeting, while still very not great is still slightly better than it was before. And so he does tend to do a lot more damage in fights than he did before a couple patches ago.
Yeah,
So
definitely you
good
can
carry.
adjust it based on positioning to make sure he does a little bit more damage.
Yeah, a lot of people just put him in the back middle. With a six sorcerer build, you kind of have to put him in the back middle because you kind of have to backline everything except for a couple tanks. With like Void, you had a brawler front line, so you could put him off to the side and protect him with a longer front line. But with six orcs, he just pretty much has to be in the middle. All right, so Delicious Milk getting the win streak. Number one in the lobby right now. Becca on the verge of being eliminated, but she has made top four. So that is a nothing but top four or greater night for Becca.
Yeah, it's been doing really well. She has been doing a lot of Brawler Blaster tonight. Seems like one of the most consistent comps. Milk actually hitting his Aurelia and being level 9 now. His comp is fairly solid. I think this is getting to one of the strongest I've ever seen this comp in this tournament.
That Shen 3 is the most annoying champion ever, basically. Because he is just not going to die. Wow, Zaya does not get hit by the MF. MF gets stopped right away anyway. And Zaya just one at a time, picking through the enemies. Ine rather, taking a big shot there.
Yeah, the 3 Mana Reaver, 3 Blade Master, 4 Celestial really paying off here.
Yeah, lots of mana reaving going on. Definitely helps a little bit. But the 4 Celestial Blade Masters. So this is kind of the basically an adaptation of a build that I've been calling Blade Reaver. That build a lot of times relies on Kale, but if you don't want to rely on Kale, you can go for what Delicious Milk is doing, which is the early hyper roll version of it, where you find the Zaya 3 and the Jarvan 3, and just kind of have that Kale replacement. You still have a very, very fast attacking Blade Master, but in the Zaya, not the Kale, makes it a bit easier to put your late game together. I like this variation.
Wait, will
Oh,
Becca win this?
uh-oh.
Oh, oh,
Caitlyn 3. Oh, wow.
unfortunately.
Just enough.
Wow.
With the Bloodthirster to finish off Becca, she will exit in 4th place in the final game of this set.
Yeah, Milk taking out his own teammate.
Yep, which he's done many times before in many tournaments. All right, grabs the Frozen Heart.
Imagine
So
if that.
let's see what Shendu's up to now. Oh, all right. Yeah, finds the Xerath. But until you
He,
find a Xerath 2, the Vel'Koz is your carry, and he's on the verge of finding a Vel'Koz 3, actually. It's got so much gold. This guy is so good. Dude, Shendu is like the best player we've seen in this tournament so far.
he definitely does very well with his eco, as well as just trying to make smart decisions. He hopefully will. Wow, he's one
He's
away
going to
from
find
that.
it. He found it. I called it, man. I knew it. Like, he was managing that roll down so well, selling like 1/4 cost at a time, basically. Dude, that's a Vel'Koz 3.
Yeah,
And
it
it's got a
has
quick
the
sense.
mana items it needs. It's going to delete.
Oh, that Vel'Koz 3. It doesn't even need to be Void either. With the 6 Sorcerer buff, everything is just vanishing.
Yep.
And that was Delicious Milk's Ghost right there. And he made it look like nothing.
Well,
Actually,
Ine actually has a 3-star Jinx as well. This is going to be very close, but
yeah, the Battle of the 3 stars. So the problem with that Ine is going to run into is that he's playing Rebels, so everything is very grouped up, which is exactly what Vel'Koz wants. So if the Vel'Koz ult happens fast, which it probably will because he's got a Seraphs and a Hand of Justice, that might just roast the entire Rebels composition there.
yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. We'll see what happens very, very soon.
Trying to move it over. You don't really need to move the Vel'Koz, though. He should pretty much hit the back line, but it looks like he's going to fight against Delicious Milk first.
Yeah, Milk just noticed.
Well, okay. Zaya.
Oh, he actually
man.
He actually managed to stay alive and keep the Vel'Koz from taking down half of his team with a good split.
Well, that was like a hashtag just Vel'Koz things round where like Vel'Koz basically fired to the left and hit nearly nothing in that fight. Missed all the carries, and that's the trouble of running a Vel'Koz centric comp, because he can be an MVP and he can look like a bench warmer in consecutive rounds.
Yeah, meanwhile, on the other hand, he did actually destroy Ine's team on the with his ghost, so
Right.
it pulled
Smarter
Ine down
Vel'Koz went over there apparently.
to much lower.
Yep.
Basically, this gives Milk more opportunity to get some good RNG fights in with the Vel'Koz, basically.
Yeah. So leveling up to 9 to go up to. He's so close to actually having 8 sorcerers, which I've never seen in a game before. I'd probably put on the Wukong. Yeah. You want your tank line to live
Level
longer.
9, but if he levels to 9, he's not going to be able to put in a 9th unit.
So basically, yeah, he's gonna have to survive one more round to make this work. But then if he finds another sorcerer, he could honestly like take out Wukong.
His best matchup right
All
here.
right, here we go. Vel'Koz gets slowed down though. Here comes the ult. And it's pretty good. Oh yeah.
Straight up deleted.
Yeah, Rebels versus Vel'Koz 3. It's not pretty. Oh, another Xerath.
Oh, he does get a Xerath. Is he going to?
Lulu doesn't have the 8th sorcerer.
Believe who's the 8th sorcerer?
Missing an Annie.
Ah.
Yeah. He would want the he would want to put in the Annie basically. And there's one other one I feel like he's missing.
He could roll for it, but
Syndra.
I think he'd rather prefer his
Yeah, he's missing Annie and Syndra, and he doesn't have any money really. So I think 6 Sork is fine. I think Lulu, if she gets the ult off, is going to be the MVP anyway. Probably better than 8 Sork. Ooh, Vel'Koz gets one good ult, but doesn't hit any of the carries. It needs to live long enough to hit everybody else, and it is.
Yeah,
wow, that did it. He won one round at least.
For sure. Ooh, 27 damage right there.
Yeah, all right. So the next one's going to be the last one, no matter what. So what's he looking for? He's got to be looking for sorcerers, right? Maybe he wants to try the 8th Sork. I want to see him try it. Like, okay, let's just get this out there. Switching to 8 sorcerers would be bad because he would have to take
one. Right move in this situation at all.
It would be bad. I want to see it because I've never seen someone run an 8th Sork before. But in this case, let's be clear, it would be bad. So he's not going to do it.
You need the 2 Vanguard in this case.
Yeah. All right. Does Vel'Koz survive long enough? Oh, that was a good ult. I think he's got it.
Yeah, he's definitely got it.
Shendu does it at 6 HP. The 6 sorcerer build. That's 2 sorcerer wins in the tournament so far. One yesterday and one today with different sorcerer builds.
This was
Shendu is my new favorite person.
Managing to hit like really big high rolls early on. You know, he high rolled that Poppy for late game, and then ended up having the ability to hit that Vel'Koz in 3 in the late game, which is insane. Normally, you won't see that happen.
Yeah. Well, the thing is there's not a lot of people going for a Vel'Koz these days in TFT. So it's honestly not that surprising that he was able to find it. But the really impressive thing is that he was able to keep his economy good enough to put himself in that position to actually do it.
Yeah, definitely. Let's take a look at the scores here. Becca finishing on top with 29 points.
Yeah.
Ine and Shendu close behind with 25 each.
Yep, Shendu and Ine tied there. Going to add a lot to their point totals overall.
Yeah, Shendu actually not doing very well early, but ending with 2 first places in a row, pulling back his score straight back up to the top of tonight's standings.
I mean, everybody has rough games now and then, but I think this is the second night in a row that Shendu has really proven himself to be the player from China to watch in this tournament. Hong Lian, on the other hand, some pretty rough results tonight. I think he's very good at playing from behind, but I just don't know if his style is the most optimal way to play the game right now, and it's kind of looking like that.
I think the way he plays, it's very high risk, high reward. If he is able to hit it, he will do phenomenally well. But
Yeah.
let's take a look at these leaderboards. We have Shendu on top with 56 points, Ine very close behind with 50, Delicious Milk with 46 after, not doing as well tonight as last night, and then Zhang Yu with 43.
Yeah, Becca making up a lot of ground in the standings as well, putting herself within striking distance of the top four pretty easily if she has another good night like she did tonight.
Definitely. Solis and Huya at 37, 35. Altogether, they are still pretty close. They very easily, with one good series, could push back up into the leaderboard.
Right. And this leaderboard is going to change a lot as well because all the other players on the right side have not yet played tonight. Anya and Kurum, definitely within striking distance of players like Delicious Milk and Ine. But I wonder if anyone's going to actually overtake Shendu before the end of the night. He may still be number one even after the other group plays.
Yeah, it's very, very likely unless people are able to secure at least 30 plus points from either Anya or Kurum.
Hmm.
Though, I think Shendu has more or less secured himself a spot in the finals with the score as it is now.
It's going to be hard for him not to make it. That's for sure. He basically have to get
Yeah.
0 for the rest of the day. I don't even know if that would do it at this point. Let's take a look at our lobby for our next set of games. That's right. We're only halfway done tonight, guys. We've got 4 more games of TFT, and it will involve these 8 players right here.
Yeah, we have Anya, Godlike, K3 Soju, Crowan, Kiyun, Kurum, Chi2X, and Saihan Saren.
Yep.
And these are, after yesterday's performance, I think, it'll be just as close to the series as the last series, actually.
Yeah, I would imagine. We did have a lot of players swapping a lot of spots throughout that set too. Things again, a little bit mixed from where they were yesterday. We've swapped some players around here and there, but yeah, it should be a really interesting lobby to watch. And I'm curious to see if we're going to see the meta kind of continue to develop, where this build that Delicious Milk was playing, even though it didn't find a ton of success tonight, still looks like something that I think is worth experimenting with a little bit more. So we'll find out. But for now, it's a 10-minute break, and when we come back, we'll get lobby number 2 started. Don't go anywhere, guys. The Starside Invitational will come back right after this.